Okay, we're gonna go live. We're gonna go live because already, you beautiful people are celebrating on this beautiful Monday morning. Let me retweet this because, of course, that's what we need to do here. I've been losing a lot on Twitter, by the way. The bot purge is going well. Come in and chat. There we go. Because right off the bat, we have a new YouTube member, Hank Hammer 2925. Thank you very much, sir.
Stop gooning.
There we go. Thank you very much, Hank Hammer, for becoming a channel member. And then this man, our legend, the myth, Chad Whistler Stroke for the very generous 1999.
You're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win so much. I love you all.
I love you all. Chad Twister Stroke for the generous 1999. Thank you very much, sir. And I was a little bit later than usual because of the message that came after, because I got something for you guys. I told you I'd get it, and here I have it. Jack's super chat won't work, so I'll send money and I'll message here. That is perfectly fine, Chad Twister Stroke. I appreciate it. You know it. How was your weekend? I went fishing, caught a lot, and met a new plate. And in the words of Jacko Warner,
hello, nurse.
that was a riot. Wait, I don't think it's going through well. Hold up. Let's try this again.
Hello, nurse.
There it is. There. Oh, I finally have it. I finally have it. Hello, nurse. But my weekend was good. My weekend was good, actually. I made 20,000 steps yesterday and 20,000 steps today. So I cannot complain. Met a new friend from Italy today, and something weird happened, man. I met him at a coffee place, and all of a sudden, this chick, and I looked at her, and I saw her looking at us a couple of times. All of a sudden, this chick started interfering. It turns out she was American, New Yorker, like I'm walking here. You know, I made a couple of jacks. Hey, King Crimson, good to see you. Hello, Jack. Thank you. It's but we got talking and this and that, and there was a Ukrainian guy and another guy who just, didn't interact with us at all. But that will come later. I did it kind of smart. The Ukrainian guy and I started talking too, and I'm like, yeah, what's your Insta, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden she intervenes like, can I add mine too? I'm like, yeah, sure. So what do? I grab my contact thing and I opened that. And she's like, oh, what about Insta? I'm like, yeah, give me both. Give me your number and your Insta. And she puts it in there and blah, blah, blah. But it turns out the dude who didn't say anything was her husband. And I remember looking at her Instagram, and she had bikini pictures and shit like that. I'm like, and a video of her in the gym, and like the angle was from above you, so you could stare in her cleavage. I'm like, oh. So I look at my Italian friend when they left. I'm like, hey, check this out. I'm like, dude, would you be okay if your wife would post this? And he tried to give me the, oh, when I'm, if I were to have a relationship, I can't do Italian. Beepity bappity boo. Yeah, but the pasta, the pizza. He's like, if I had a relationship, I'd, I trust her. I'm like, look, I get it. But in all honesty, would you be okay if your girl posts this? I'd be like, be honest. Like, don't you think this is advertising? Don't you think this is advertising? He's like, yeah, okay, I can't deny that. I'm like, what message is she sending to the world like this? He's like, yeah, I think you're right. But here comes the fun part. Guess what happened? Because her husband looked at me like, and you have to keep in mind, those Georgians and Russians, they are very insecure. And I mean very. And I was like, dude, if you're this insecure, why is your lady like promoting herself on Instagram like that? Or it's like, what the hell? And a couple of hours later, I'm like, Huh. You know what? Let me check. And she disappeared off Instagram. I'm like, this can't be right. So I checked my WhatsApp. No profile photo. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. The Ukrainian guy was still there. So I hit up the Italian dude. I'm like, dude, check if she's still there. I think she blocked us on WhatsApp and Instagram. He's like, no way. And let me put the comments here. He's like, no way. Fuck them, man. I'm like, oh, it turned out the husband didn't like that shit. I think the husband was not happy with us at all, and I check iMessages. I'm like, is she still there? And yeah, she was still there. And I'm like, am I going to be cheeky? Am I going to throw some oil on the fire? I'm like, fuck it. I don't give a shit. So I text her via iMessage, husband, I get it. It's like, ooh, ow. But it's like, dude, man, you're already done. You're already done. It's like, man, you could be jealous all you want. This shit is gonna backfire. And they have a long distance stuff because she's American and he was Georgian. It's not gonna go well, man. What do you think's gonna happen when she leaves the country? She's gonna unblock the Italian guy and me right away. You know? Probably gonna happen where it's like, oh Lord in heaven. And I was listening to Stefan Molyneux today. I'm glad I remembered this because I did want to talk about it, and we'll go over that through the video and things like that. But yeah, you did a Rob. Are you married or are you married? You know, you know. And she opened us. Oh, you have such good English, and she thought I was American, and I'm like, God damn it, Tori, you ruined my accent. I've been hanging out with you Yanks way too much. She guessed my age right away, though, where I was like, that's not good. A couple of years ago, people were like, oh, are you 28? And now it's like, oh, you're in your 30s. I'm like, no. What's that tomb sound by? Like the doom. I want that one. It's not that one. There's like Miguel has it as well, like doom. But oh god, it was horrible. Oh, that was horrible. But maybe she likes all the dudes. But her husband, he didn't even say hello. He didn't even introduce himself. He just sat there with his earplugs in, and he let her put her number in not just my phone, but the Italian guy's phone as well. And I'm like, dude, if the Belarusian was here, she would never pull that. And when she left, I gave the Ukrainian guy a handshake. She walked up to me. Can I say goodbye? And she wanted to give me a hug. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? I mean, I just kept sitting in my chair where it's like, yeah, whatever. Italian guy stands up, gives her a nice big hug. I'm like, bro, you are cooked. As the Zoomers would say, you are cooked, my friend. I remember my South African friend, he gave the Belarusian a hug, and I remember the Belarusian being to me like, I am not comfortable with people hugging me except you. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to assert those boundaries for you. You need to do that yourself. You're in. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Her husband knew. But I mean, that husband's fucked. He is. And I do see that a lot with Georgian men here. They are so insecure. They are so insecure. And I don't know what that is. Well, I kind of do know what that is, but it's the culture. It's like hyper masculine, you know? And this is, I love that about Rollo's Art of the AMOG, where it's like, kill him with kindness. Kill him with kindness. Hey, Liminal. Dude, Liminal, I saw you on Insta. That thing, that like pad base thing that you have, that thing is awesome. Dude, that reminds me of Pendulum. You know Pendulum? I remember, is that what that guy has as well? That's what it reminded me of. Pendulum. Man, I haven't listened to Pendulum in a while. I don't know if it's like that. No, not completely. The thing he has is different, but it did remind me of that. That was pretty cool. The Misa quad wave. Get it. Yeah, man, I'm a drummer. I was listening to Dim Crooked Vultures today, a live show that I hadn't seen in the past. Oh, God, I miss drumming. I really miss drumming. And if I ever get to the States and able to live there and start a band, I'm going to get my dream drum kit. It will set me back about 5K, if not more, but I'm going to get it. There's a lot of things I would get if I were able to get to the States. Also, I want to give a shout out to Where Are You? Where Are You? Because we had a new paid supporter on the Substack today, to John Claves. Thank you very much, sir. And there was another one. There you are. And Jace, thank you, Jace and John, for becoming supporters on the Substack, monthly supporters. I very much appreciate that. And if you want to support me on the Substack, you can do so for less than a super chat per month. Yearly subscriptions have 25% off, but you can do so monthly if that has your preference. You will get new essays every week, but not only that, you will get over 100 essays in backlog, 3 free audiobooks, a private community with monthly Q&As. And once my new mic gets here, I will be narrating On Women, my book, 200 pages of condensed red pill lessons, successes, and failures. I will be starting to narrate that, and that will become available for free as well for Substack supporters. So get on that now. Get on it today, and you will get all the goodies for less than a super chat per month. I think that's a good deal. Hi from Canada. Howdy ho, handsome Pete. Good to see you. Howdy ho from Idaho. That's E. Jones. E. Jones. But let me look up the nonsense that we're getting into today, because today is Monday. Reactionary day. The most lowest form of content, reactionary content. We're going to get into it. But let me first... Well, if I can actually pull this off. Set your sights unto the sun. There you go, playlists. Because I found a video, of course I found a video about what the hell happened? What happened to Christian women? And I was like, you know what? I heard Paul on Rule Zero talk about it. I'm like, I'm going to go into it. Question, Jack, how many more paid supporters do you need to move to the States? Oh, or at least invest in the stock market or something. I mean, I can already invest in the stock market. I mean, that's good, you know. But to live in the U.S. properly, I estimated it about 5K a month, you know, and maybe that's overestimating it, you know, depending. Let's say, for sake of argument, 3K a month, I would need $290 more to be able to like live normally in the States. I would need 290 more. No, 296? 296 more. Yep. I'm so happy, by the way, I'm not the only one suffering from that thing. I heard Rolo during Rule Zero. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I know that noise. I have that as well. And I'm not going to lie, I am still fucking high on coffee. I had 2 Americanos, large Americanos. I think that's the problem this afternoon. And I am racing right now. Like, fresh pots, you know? 5K for being outside the major cities, a lot more if you're in them. Oh, yeah. Hey, Jones, good to see you. Yeah. 500 paid subs is what I'm aiming for. And we're now at 100 and... How much was it? Because last time I estimated the free gifts as well. And Siege, bless his heart, has been throwing them around. But we're now at 104, 105, excluding the gifts. You know? So I would need 395 more to hit the goal of 500. But we're just going to keep on trucking. We just passed 4,210 subscribers. We're going to go to 5K, baby. And we're just going to keep going, and time will be kind to us. And I just need to keep writing. The essay for this week is in the works. And it's going to be about depression. And no offense, but I think I have the right to have a say in depression. Like the shit I've seen, I'm like, boy, howdy. You put on your seatbelt, kids. Buckle up, buckaroo, because we're going to go through a wild ride where it's like, you want to hear depression? I don't want to hear another person to be like, my parents were divorced. Really? That's it. Now, I'm not going to stand on the moral high horse or whatever with that nonsense where it's like, look at me be the victim. But I am going to be like, really? That's it. Now, I have also known a lot of people who have been through worse than I have. And they're better off than I am. And they're better off than a lot of people who I know who went through less nonsense. And I'm like, you know what? F it. But speaking of F it, Retro Gamer for the generous $4.99. Thank you very much, sir.
Do not, I repeat, do not listen to women.
Thank you very much, Retro Games HQ, our beloved Retro Gamer, as I know him, a good friend of the channel, a good friend of mine, for the generous $4.99. Thank you very much, sir. We'll listen later. Here's to the 5K. We'll get there. One day we'll get there, and man, there's so many trading cards I want. That's the thing. What's going to come first? All the trading cards or the trip to the US? The trip to the US will come first. Don't worry. I have my priorities straight. I'm aiming at least to visit the US next year, and make a little bit of a grand tour where it's like, look, make me do that. And from there on out, we're going to do some things. I want a new mic, which I already have the new mic. It's just not in my possession. Watson has it. My dear Watson. Watson already has the mic. Watson's on his way here. He already has the tickets and everything. He will be here April 29th. I will do Red Evening that week. I will not be streaming on Thursday that week. I don't know if I'm going to be on Rule Zero that week. It really depends on the topic. Where it's like, I could hang out with Watson or I could be on Rule Zero. I know I'm not hosting that week where it's like, I'm not going to be hosting. So, but we will do Red Evening because, of course, why Red Evening and not Rule Zero? Because Watson knows Rob, and Rob's going to love talking to Watson again, That's just going to be awesome. Well, speaking of awesome, it's Chat Twister Stroke for the generous $1.99. Thank you very much, sir.
Stop gooning.
I love it that I now have a $2 clip. It's okay to be depressed. What will you do about it? Exactly. And that is what the essay is going to be about. Look, again, I don't want it to be, look at me, I'm the victim. No, it's going to be like, look what I went through and I'm still alive. What's your excuse kind of thing? And that sounds harsh. And even as I was writing it, I've been through those moments where people told me, what's your excuse? In my defense, I did think it was a little bit too early and too harsh. And I'm okay talking about this right now. And like I said, I don't want any pity on this one. But what happened was my mother had died. The summer break between first and second class of high school. So as you can imagine, my second year of high school wasn't the best. God, what is going on? I wasn't paying attention much. I was never a problem child. I was just not paying attention because I was somewhere else with my mind. And I had a student guidance counselor. Now, there was one day, and it was gym class. He was a gym teacher, And I ran into a high school or a preschool friend even. And he didn't know what happened to my mother. And he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, well, this is how I'm doing. And that conversation, that went a little bit longer than I thought. So I came to gym class. I'm like, hey, sorry I'm late. He's like, why are you late? I'm like, well, I ran into a childhood friend and he had no idea what had happened. So, I explained it to him. He's like, well, you can't hide behind your mother's death all the time and you need to get over it. Mind you, my mother hadn't been dead for even 3 months. I was like, excuse you? Yeah, my mom died too when I was 41. Sir, I wasn't a day over 14. What? And this was my student guidance counselor, the man who I was supposedly to trust with my worries at school and my problems. This is the guy you went to when you had home issues, when you had grade issues. And that was the demeanor that he had towards me. Not just towards me, he had towards a child, you know, that had lost a parent. Oh, get over it. It's like, do you think I trusted that man afterwards? Do you think I wanted to tell him what I was struggling with? No. Like, he ruined my entire trust bond with him just because of that nonsense. So in general, I do agree, and I love Rob. Rob said it best, Rob always said, "You do not get over it, you go through it." But in my defense as a 14-year-old, I truly think that student guidance counselor was in the wrong, in my humble opinion, as his role as a mentor and as a teacher and a counselor. I think that was misplaced. That was also the man who had his say at the end of the year. It was if I was allowed to stay on that education level or go lower. He made me go lower, by the way, because of, oh, you're 1.0 point behind on what you need to have. It's like, well, you do realize that I wasn't in the best of headspaces, right? Well, you can't hide that behind that forever. It's like, dude, what? You didn't extend the hand or anything either. I remember the first day of the second year of high school, he came to me, "Hey, by the way, I heard that your mom died. Do you want me to tell the class or do you want to do it yourself?" It's like, maybe I don't want to talk about it. Have you thought of that? No, man, that was like, fuck you. Rip the Band-Aid off and go for it. It's like, now when you're an adult, sure. But when you're a kid, I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, maybe, hey, if I'm in the wrong here and you guys are like, oh, you should have grown a pair when you were 14, tell me. Tell me. But in my humble opinion, I truly thought that was out of place. Now, I ended up well. So, it only made me stronger. And it gave me some great insights. And now I can write about it. And maybe someone here is going through that and things like that. And I keep saying it. The world is a better place with you in it. And let me know in the chat. But I would have done that differently. But that's me, where I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was cold. Damn, son. Like, wow. But I mean, on the other hand, it did shape me into who I am today. But that's kind of where my disdain for authority comes from. Like, the people who I was supposed to rely on back in the day were just not people I could rely on at all. I've always been kind of out there for me, It's like, yeah, no, it's really you against the system because the system ain't helping you. So, well, fine, I'll do it myself. And now I'm here. Now, do I have anything to complain about? Not really. He's probably stuck there in the dusty office somewhere, And I'm not here. Sorry about it. I mean, Torgo, it's fine. It's 2021? Almost 22 years ago. I mean, you learn to live with it, Let me just say that, oh yeah, losing a parent as a child is rough. Yeah, it shapes you. It shapes you in a different fashion, But I mean, that's a whole different story. It's not with all due respect to my mother, she did teach me a lot about manners, which I'm very happy with, about demeanor, things like that. But she was an addict. And this is what I hate. And I've gone through this, and I mean, I think I'm boring people with this at this point. So, let's wrap this one up real quick. But I've had people in my real life who found out about the Napier stuff. It's like, oh, his opinion about women is just like that because of his mom. It's like, no offense, but the red pill gave me a way better understanding about my mother than you people ever did. I mean, I can now look at my mother and be like, you know what? I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand, mom. It's okay. That's because of the red pill. That's about understanding hypergamy and solipsism and emotion, instinct, and reason. You know, before I knew this, I was very bitter about it. But, going through the praxeology, going through female nature, going through Rollo's books and all that, I'm now like, oh, now I get it. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I don't agree with it, mom, but I understand. And it's okay. Well, maybe not okay, but so anytime somebody comes at you where it's like, oh, these evil red pillars just have a bad relationship with their mother, it's like, no, I don't want to see. When my mom was sober, she was pretty fucking great. She was. She had my humor. Other way around. I have her humor. There's also like a couple of things that I got from my dad, but no, great person. And because of all this nonsense, I now understand it. My relationship with women has never been better after the red pill, but you're gonna get that. You men are just bitter. Not really. My parents are both in their 80s. Dad 87 and mom 81, so I was very lucky. You are, Torgo. You are. And I hope they age they age well. My father always said getting old is one thing, but being old a different one. Break time over. I'll be in the background. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Crimson. King trust issues. But okay, enough about the sob story. I'm fine. And I am thankful for all the times I've had, you know? But now we need to get into the gist of this thing because what the hell is wrong with Christian women? I saw this video and I heard Paul. I'm like, oh God. Like, do you guys and I'm not shitting on Paul. Paul's great, and Paul can break me in half. I mean, look at the arm. Look at the size of those arms. But he's like, hey, what do you think's going on with this? And I'm like, well, that's Rollo's chart on an internet level, Pandora's, and that's the beauty of it. You now see people talking about it who haven't even read Rollo's books. Where it's like, oh, if we're at that point, something is gonna happen, where it's like, oi, 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 oi. That ain't good. That ain't not good. Not good at all. I mean, maybe it is. Whoa, 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 chill. All of a sudden, loud noises. Loud noises. I'm like a gremlin, but instead of bright lights, I have it with loud noises. Loud noise. Blah, blah, blah. Gremlins is a Christmas film, by the way. But thank you, Chad Whistler Stroke, for the very generous $1.99. I appreciate that, sir. Real quick, Chad, Retro, and of course, Hank Hammer. Thank you guys so much for the support, man. I appreciate that, guys. But without further ado, let's get into this nonsense, shall we? Because Monday content is reactionary content, the most lowest form of content. Yet,
I know I've hinted at this, but I don't think I've ever officially told you guys that I'm a born again virgin. Like I tried.
No,
I've
we're
hinted
not
at
doing
this.
this. We are not doing this. I'm gonna sit in my chair and I'm gonna sit properly the way I want to. I'm gonna put my laptop the way I want to, and I'm gonna sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. Where are you? Red evening. I don't need red evening right now. I need you. I need you. I want my chat. It's been a while since I read Rolo's stuff. There we go. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready? Let's get ready to rumble.
But I don't think I've ever officially told you guys that I'm a born again virgin. Like,
Not how that works.
I tried my darndest to wait. That got taken from me. So I literally just went and slept with 3 different guys within that 2-day time
I slept with 3 different guys in that 2-day time. Oh my God.
period. I'm waiting till marriage again.
If you've been wondering what
This is like the level of girl math these girls go through, you know, where it's like, oh, you know, if right now I just stop having sex for at least a year, I'm a virgin again. It's like, that's not how that works. That is who tells you this? Who in the world sits you down and tells you, hey, you can take dick all you want, but if you stop taking dick for a year, you become a virgin again. Who does that? I want to know.
What the heck happened to Christian women? You're not alone, and the data proves you right. The bar for what defines a Christian woman has never been lower. Men are endlessly corrected and held to lofty standards, but if you're
Wait. Oh, hello, Nala. I'm not going to lie. Nala is like, I don't know what it is. I think it's the face and the nose structure or whatever, but I'm not going to lie, man. Every time I see that woman, it is like,
Hello, nurse.
I love that I have that soundbite right now. Yes.
Hello, nurse.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy right now.
woman, you can essentially get away with anything so long as you have a Bible verse in your bio. Yet, more and more traditional Christians are being painted as misogynists and radical extremists. But why is this happening? In this
Hold up. What is happening?
video, we're going to follow the data, the incentives, the institutions, and the history to figure out how feminism infiltrated the Christian world. Why
Guys, we're getting a history lesson here. This is going to be good.
intelligence agencies supported this, and what we can do about it before true Christianity becomes unrecognizable. Because one thing is certain, this is a crisis, and this is by far the most important video I've ever made on this channel.
Oh, now you know we're going to get down. This is the most important video he's ever made. No offense, kid, but when did you release this video?
This is why I bring to you
5 days ago. So in 2026, do you realize that Dalrock has been writing about this like 10 years ago? It's like, kid, you're not special, okay?
the downfall of Christian women. I'll say the quiet part that nobody wants to admit, while all
He will say the quiet part that nobody dares to admit. Uh-huh. Have you heard about our Lord and Savior, Rollo Tomasi?
of society, including men, are in dire straits. According to the data, the ideological shift is overwhelmingly on the female side, not the male side.
We know what the fundamental duties are of men, but no one wants to define what that is for women. Young men are checking out, they're not getting married, and that's not good for a country. That's not good for a birth.
Well, we do want to mention that for women, but as soon as we mention that for women, we're being screeched at and called misogynistic and oppressors and whatever. It's like, no, look, they always say like, oh, she's missing a strong father. Have you tried being a strong father in this society? You are up against social media, school, teachers, bosses, female friends, and like moms. You try to put your foot down as a father these days, and you will not only have to parent your daughter, you will have to fight every woman around you. Now, Traddy, he homeschools his kids, but at least he owns his no, because his wife, too, doesn't have like a lot of modern friends. And that just saves a lot of trouble. You have to realize that the modern world, modern society has just been intoxicated with this garbage that a man's word ain't worth shit. Which, good, bad, you can name it whatever you want. It just is. So what are you going to do about it?
Right? That's not good for our society.
But the reason for that is not what you think. Here's where it gets interesting and honestly a little bit strange, because the popular narrative says that Christianity is being radicalized and Christian men are all right-wing extremists. But there's a catch-22 that I'm about to expose to you. The story you always hear is that online figures are radicalizing young men.
I am radicalizing you. Man, I'm not going to lie. I can't wait to be like categorized in those same dudes. I have been waiting for it. Like, I want my wanted poster, man. You ain't a true pirate until you made that.
Turning them into misogynists, and that traditional values are oppressive and toxic. The reality is that much of what passes today as Christianity is simply feminized, and that's why any sort of
Yep. Do you see that the Archbishop of the English Church is now all of a sudden a woman? Where it's like, what the hell are we even doing, man? I'm surprised, by the way, they still have a church, but that's a whole different story.
criticism gets instantly labeled as toxic or uncharitable.
This is one of the biggest problems in Protestant churches, is that there's lots and lots of women who want to leverage their faith to buy a new reputation. They will move into kind of weaker churches where
That is what I do like about Andrew. You know, he's on the front lines of that nonsense.
they can keep the progressive attitudes. And what they're really looking for is not being judged. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be.
Nala, you know what that means.
Hello, nurse.
Yay. I'm so happy. If Rollo is the Lord and Savior of the Red Pill, does that mean Jack is the prodigal son? I don't know. Am I the prodigal son? I mean, he left me and came back. I think at this point, Rollo's the prodigal father for now. You know, I just have to do something again. You know. Oh, I know exactly what I could do. I'm not going to do it, but I know exactly what I could do.
Judged.
And I don't deal well with judgment. I'm a very rebellious person.
I mean, I hate this. I hate the right one, but on the left, whoo, whoo, whoo. I don't know what it is with that look, but I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. And then the black shirt with the blonde, it's like, oh my God. Woo.
Hello, nurse.
I will never get sick of that. Hey, Dr. W, good to see you, Void. Good to see you. I suspect we both get our posters around the same time. Sir, this is no offense to you, but I've been at it for okay, we've been going at here are my hands, Blake. Here are my hands. No, but I've been going at it for almost 8 years now. I hope I get my poster earlier than you, sir. I hope.
And when it comes up to judgment.
So a religion that is about repentance and high standards gets turned into a virtue signaling competition on who can be the least critical.
Correct. It's about propriety, and I have said that before. Women do not care about empathy or whatever. I think suicidal empathy is the wrong choice of words. It is about propriety. Everything is about reputation, and what they're doing is damage control. And you know whose fault this is? Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about Stefan Molyneux, who I still listen to, and he mentioned a date he had. It was actually a pretty interesting story. He's like, you know what? I had a date and I asked her out to go to the movies and with a couple of friends, and we were waiting for her. And I told her like, hey, you know what? Movie's starting in about 20 minutes. I didn't want to leave. So I told her, you know what? I'd love for you to come with me. Why don't you change your clothes and you can come join us? And she's like, okay, teehee. And she went home. And he had to wait 40 minutes for her to show back up like, okay, I'm done. And Stefan at the time was in therapy. And he talked about it. He's like, why would she do that? Like, she knew the film was starting, and yet she still took 40 minutes. Like, can't she, like, think about others? And apparently his therapist stopped him and was like, why do you care why she did it? She did it. And he was like, oh, huh. Why would I care about the motivation if the outcome doesn't change? You know, what does change, though, is Michael Traptree for the generous $2. Thank you very much, sir. Michael Traptree for the 2. Stop gooning.
Stop gooning.
I will not, sir. I will not. You people know what I'm about. You know, you all know what I'm about. But he oftentimes why becomes a stupid question. You are right, Alan. You are right. And that's why I love Ryan's essay, Why is a Stupid Fucking Question? And I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where I don't even bother with why anymore. It's like, no. There's people who I asked for a favor that takes about 2 minutes, and it's now been 2 months. Where it's like, I don't care what the why is. You just don't care, whatever. You just don't care, and it's fine, and I just don't bother, you know? It's like, oh, maybe they forget, maybe they no. 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 It's just I ran into my Belarusian friend, and he stopped texting me. He's like, "Oh, I've been busy." I'm like, "I don't need to know the why. I already know that. I already know that." So the behavior changes or it doesn't. But even Molyneux was like, he's like, "I didn't ask that girl out again. Just no, I didn't ask her out again." Which gets me to a different story about my Zoomer friend. Because my Zoomer friend, who I've told you about, he was so happy. He's like, "Jack, I got a date. Like, I went to this festival. I met this chick. We made out. I have her number. And I set a date." I'm like, "You only made out?" He's like, "What did you expect? That I'd fucked her?" I'm like, "Yes." But okay, he had the second date. And yeah, we made out. And I'm like, "Nothing more?" Like, third base, at least, you know? "No, because I was in the car." I'm like, "So?" But guess what happened? Guess what happened? She hasn't replied to him in 3 days. I'm like, why am I not surprised? I knew this would happen. Now, kids, why did Uncle Jack knew this would happen? You know? Why did Uncle Jack knew this was happen? Why did he? Because he did not get rejected for being assertive. He got rejected for being gay. Now, not in the homosexual sense. I mean, he never got abused by his parents or his uncle. Hi-oh! But he didn't make a move. Yeah, he made out. Okay, big fucking whoop. Girls make out with their... I wanted to make a nice joke, but girls will make out with you just to get... I'll think of something. Girls make out with you to wish you a good morning. That means nothing anymore. If you don't fuck on the first date these days, it's like, what are you even? What are you even? By the way, now that I mention it, speaking of smashing, hit the like button. How about that? Smash the like button, people. Tell YouTube this is the stuff you want to say. And he and I got talking because he does want my advice. He's like, "I don't know anymore, man." I'm like, "Okay." Because it always sounds cringe, and this is one of the most dangerous things to give advice about. It is. And you know why? Because it gets taken out of context so much. "Hey, hello, John. How have you been?" I'll just make out with the like button. You better. You better. "How have you been, John? I haven't seen you in a while. How's the cat? Is the cat doing well? Good to see you, buddy." But giving advice on how to escalate gets misinterpreted so much. So let me be clear. No is no. Okay? If I ever get, people clip this and it's like, "Jack Napier gave the advice." No. But when you're making out, try to cop a feel. If she pushes you back, she's not ready for it. If she doesn't push you back, you can cop a feel, and you do that to the upper chest area, but you can also do that between the thighs. But you do that slowly but surely. You're smooth about it. And maybe she'll push you away and she will, tell you indirectly, "I'm not ready for that," which is perfectly fine. And then maybe after 5 to 10 minutes of making out, you slowly but surely make a move again. And then maybe she'll allow it. But you build up the escalation to the extent that she allows you to build up escalation. Don't be afraid to be rejected, but do so smoothly and decently. And that's kind of what I had to explain to him. Where it's like, it's okay to escalate, you know? It's okay to get physical. Because apparently she wants to get physical with you. Madonna, I believe. Physical is Madonna, right? And I tell him, and he told me, he's like, yeah, but you know what the thing is, Jack? I don't want to fuck buddy. I'm like, oh. I'm like, breathe. I'm like, hey, what if that's the problem? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, what if to get to where you want to be, you become a fuck buddy first and you slowly grow into a relationship? He's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, because in all honesty, he's like, yeah, I'm a little bit green in that. I'm like, you're not per se green, but you are idealistic in it. Like, which is not wrong. I never tell them they're wrong. Nobody's wrong. Like, it's not wrong, but it's rare. And you're excluding yourself from fun. I mean, you're a dude. You'll get over it. But this is just the way girls operate. He's like, yeah, that is kind of the case. I'm like, let it go. Try to let it go and reevaluate your strategy and go from wanting a relationship to enjoying what you have now and see if it grows into a relationship or not and go from there. Olivia Newton-John, thank you. Physical. I had this exchange with a girl. She kept saying she wanted to know the real me, which was a moving target. Honey, I am a wolf. I am a horny, howling wolf. You know, the one from the Looney Tunes? Was that Looney Tunes? Yeah. The one who bangs his head with a hammer, smashes his hand on the table, and howls while his eyes pop out. That's me. You know? That's me to you. I am an animal. I am wild. And I will not apologize for anything. I love that Conor McGregor bit. Where it's like, I'd love to apologize to fucking nobody. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the champ. All of you. It's like amazing. But that's the demeanor you want to have, you know, irrational self-confidence. Let's continue to the most important video ever made.
Historical data is beyond obvious. Christian teaching on women was clear, structured, and unapologetic. It emphasized modesty, distinct roles within the family.
Ooh, Corinthians 14:34. As in all the churches of the saints, 34, women should be silent in the churches. How's that working out for you? For they are not permitted to speak. What if I narrate the Bible? You think I do a good job with that? For they are not permitted to speak, but should be subordinate, as the law also says. 35. If there is anything they desire to know, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is shameful for a woman to speak in church. I think I do a mighty fine job with that, in all honesty. I think I would.
And a visible separation from the moral assumptions of the surrounding culture. Now compare that to the present. Today, it's increasingly common to find self-identified Christian women who affirm abortion, support Skittles relationships, and adopt modern views on
women have learned the gospel to deceive the world of men. You can quote that right now. Jack Napier. Women have learned, harlots have learned the gospel to deceive the man of faith. Harlots have learned the gospel to deceive the man of faith. Let me tweet that. Harlots. Harlots. to deceive men of faith. Harlots have learned the gospel to deceive the men of faith. Oh my God, I am such a fucking wordsmith. I'm not Chest Rockwell level yet. That was one time that young Jack Napier dared to correct Chest Rockwell, and there was smiting. That was like Old Testament level of smiting going on, by the way, where I was like, okay, never doing that again. Like, apologies, it's like, you're not there yet, boy. I was like, oh, I know. Now, I wasn't as stupid as, challenging him to a boxing match, but I did try to be cheeky with him once, and I was like, nope. You.
Gender and sexuality. And this isn't anecdotal. According to Pew Research, among Christians aged 18 to 29, 61% of women say abortion should be legal. They are around
61% of Christian women say abortion should be legal. Go find your woman at the church, boys. Four out of 10. It's like, I mean, look, even I'm not sure about abortion. Now, I know abortion isn't a right because it isn't. We talked about this the last time where it's like, hey, if it's dependent on other people's skill, it can't be a right. It just can't. Should they have access to it? No. Do I think a doctor is allowed to perform the action? Yeah. Do I think somebody should pay it by tax dollars? No. That like, I'm kind of on the fence about that one kind of thing. What I'm not on the fence about, though, is the Heroes Forge for the generous $5.99. Sir, it's coming your way.
Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. $6 shrimp special!
The Heroes Forge for the generous $5.99. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And that is an amazing Cecil. That PSA 10, oof. Très bien. I might get the Shanks OP6 PSA 10, but I already have it. I have the card. I could grab it if you like, by the way. Do you guys want to see that? My alternate art Shanks? But okay, the Heroes Forge for the generous $5.99. Thank you very much, sir. Based Christianity is the Christianity of the Bible. This modern hot nonsense is a monstrosity on the level of the monster of Jackal Island. I agree. Like, you know what my thing is with the faith? And I think I did it the wrong way, where it's like I tried it via the evangelical church, and I don't know, man. The evangelicals, I just can't get behind that nonsense. Where it's like, oh this is not faith. It's not faith. But when I talk to my South African friend, like, he's a man of faith. I can talk religion to him and be like, yeah, I can get behind this. I understand it. I can get behind it. But it's kind of like all the stuff I went through where it's like, is there a God? But you have to see the ending to know why things happened. And I'm kind of like, I'm not at my end. I hope, knock on wood, that I get to live for a very long time, in all honesty, and I want to live for a very long time. But I know they all say it where it's like, whoa, what happened to me made me into the man I am today. And I'm kind of like, no, but it did. It gave me my disdain for authority, and because of my disdain for authority, I worked my ass off never to have authority again. So I guess it worked out. Dude, get the PSA 10. I know, but it's the trouble of getting the damn thing here, because everything over $100 that needs to be imported, I pay extra tax over. What I could do is send it to Watson, but then it will be in storage. So it's like, and I might do that because I have a feeling One Piece right now is still affordable, where I'm like, I might hit up Watson with that one, where it's like, I need you on this one.
twice as likely to say Skittles' behavior should.
Oh my God, 75% of Christian women are for gay marriage. Oh, fuck me. Please don't. But oh my God, no offense, but I never understood why any church allowed that nonsense. No offense. Do I think gays are allowed to marriage for okay, so marriage for me is like there's two ways to get married, for the state and for the church. For the state, look, if you want to get your estate in order, because that's what government marriage is for, for your estate, fine. Where it's like, I love this man, I want this man to have a say, and if anything happens to me, fine. But don't call it marriage. Don't call it marriage. And that's what the rainbow, the same thing. You know why they use the rainbow? They took the rainbow for demoralization. The rainbow used to be a Christian religious symbol. They did it on purpose. They did it to bastardize the Christian faith, and love or hate Tate, but Tate was right about that. The Christians are fucking pussies for letting that happen in general. Mike's a man of faith. Mike's not a pussy, but in general, the faith, they have let a lot of nonsense slide. They have. And if you want to get this fixed, dude, I know Trump's been a disappointment, but if you guys can get a Republican back there after Trump, he needs to ban that shit. Where it's like, no, the rainbow was a signal of God to Noah that the earth would not flood again. That's what that was about. Not because you want to take dick in every hole.
Be accepted. And on Transformers issues, the gap is even wider. The truth that nobody talks about is that none of this is some random accident of chance or the natural progression of life. But over the last
this is Lungs of Faith. This is a big channel, and he's making this based off a video. It's like, wow. Interesting. I mean, Rolo's at 250,000. So, okay.
60 years, there's been a deliberate plan to capture and subvert Christian institutions that hold even remotely traditional views. So if the narrative is that online Christian men are being radical...
If I was thinking about this today, this is coming from a European, so take it with a grain of salt. Please take this with a grain of salt. But I was thinking about this today. If Vance really wants to run in 2028, or whenever it is, he steps down as vice president now. If he wants the America First crowd, he steps down now. He's honest about it, where it's like, hey, the president has gone a route that differs from the reasons I supported him for. He is fighting foreign wars. He is fighting for reasons not beneficiary to the American people. Stripper here? Why didn't I see Stripper yet? Oh, there he is. Hello, Stripper. But, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. This is just me brain farting. This is just me brainstorming. But I was thinking about that, where it's like, what are the Republicans going to do? Because Trump is losing his base from what I'm seeing because of this Iran bullshit. Even Sargon's mentioned it, and Sargon is not, he doesn't talk about the tribe, but even he was, it's pretty clear that Orange Man is now doing the bidding of the chosen people. And I'm like, oi, 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 oi. And I don't want to get into it too much, but I'm like, look, in my humble opinion, this is just me observing. And if I'm wrong, which I probably am, because I'm European and not my president and all that, but it's global, so everybody has an opinion. I was like, what would I do? I would step down as vice president, be very open about my reasons, where it's like, no, I don't agree with this nonsense. I cannot support him anymore. I can't support him anymore. I don't agree with this nonsense. I'll see you in 2028. And I'd run on it. I'd run on that, where it's like, no, nope. I probably get shot, because what happened to the last president who tried to cut ties with the chosen land, What happened to him? Remember Ben Shapiro? Fucking A. What do the Kennedy files matter? It's like, yes, Ben. Why do the Kennedy files matter? I wonder. When it came out who Lee Harvey Oswald was working for and stuff like that, where it's like, oi, 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 ay, 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 ay. By the way, I'm not suicidal, just to be sure. I'm not. Need to be safe. My window's closed. My door's closed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of scared. Oops, for talking about that. Oh, no, but that's what I would do. I don't think you're wrong. It's just a matter of Vince's political career. It could be an overwhelming success or a massive failure. Yeah. Holy shit. Chat of Arabia with a gift at 10. Mish. Baby. Baby. Thank you so much. I don't want to do the Trump clip anymore. I'm like, nah. It's not worth it. Here, Mish, this one's for you.
You are autistic. Send this to someone who is autistic. You have autism. You are on the spectrum. And that's totally fine.
That's for you, Mish. Thank you so much. Chat of Arabia with the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Mish. Where is it? There you go. Thank you so much, Mish. Thank you so much. If you want a different clip, I'll get one for you. But thank you. God damn it, Mish. Thanks so much, man. Words cannot describe. I appreciate that. Hey, Dondrell is here. Dondrell. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. All the support, no matter how big or small. Appreciate it. But to get back to that topic, I just think that because you see a lot of Zoomers, what Trump is doing now is appealing to the boomers. He's appealing to the boomers, and when they're on their way out, there is gonna be, oh Lord in heaven, when you see the Zoomer men, their humor, you know what's trending on TikTok right now? English versions of the painter speeches. Yeah. English versions of the painter speeches. How long do you think it's going to take for they have an English copy of My Struggle? That's the Zoomer thing. And Generation Alpha. Yeah. They're not too keen on all this nonsense. Okay, here's the thing. You want to know my honest opinion? It's not because they're chosen people. It's because they are the ones taking the money. Let's say Germany was like, oh, we want to war with Poland, and Trump would have been like, oh, we need to defend Germany from Poland or Poland from Ukraine. Who cares? They would have hated the Germans. That's what this is about. This is not because they are specifically the chosen people, although that argument could be made because the chosen people have their fingers in a lot of, But right now, they are the ones wanting American interference in everything. And the American people are just done with that nonsense. Where it's like, guys, we have enough trouble at home, And at first, I was like, you know what? I get it. Iran is a threat to the world. But now I'm like, are they? And yeah, okay, the protesters, 30,000, 25,000, the sources are a little bit skewed on that. But yeah, they have unfortunately done the unthinkable with their protesters. They have. It's horrible. But doesn't America have enough issues at home? Billions of dollars in fraud. Billions. of taxpayer money in fraud. Those never went anywhere. You still have corrupt judges. You have. Why is Ilhan Omar still in office? You know? And I'm European and I see that nonsense. You know? I mean, why do you think I left the Netherlands? It's like, yeah, if that is going on in the States, I know it's going on in the Netherlands. And it's like, God damn it, people. So I get it why a lot of people are done with Trump, where it's like, nah, never mind. He's not it. He's not the guy. And I think he hasn't been the guy for a long time. I mean, luckily you didn't get Kamala, but still, is this what you guys voted for? I don't think it is. So I was thinking like, oh, who do they want to run? Because if Vance sticks with him, I think that's going to stick on his career because the Zoomers are going to remember where it's like, no, Vance supported him. Vance stayed vice president. You know? This is what happened to Wilders in the Netherlands as well. Wilders, 20 years in politics and whatever. And he finally won. And he won by a landslide. You need to have 72 seats to have a majority. He won 35 or something. He almost lost half. But he had to fill a cabinet. And then the concessions came. He was not allowed to be prime minister. I'm like, look. And Wilders in the polls came out at 42 in the polls back then. During the forming of the coalition, they said, you are not allowed to be prime minister. If Wilders had pulled the plug at that moment, if Wilders had said, go fuck yourself, I won, I'm prime minister, deal with it. Had he had the balls to do it, we would have been in a very different situation in the Netherlands. But he didn't. They are too scared to walk away. And what did Corey Wayne always used to say? The strongest negotiating position. Yeah, the strongest negotiation position is being able to walk away and mean it. And none of these boomer fucks have the balls to do it. Walk away and mean it. Where it's like, no, I'm done. I'm done with this nonsense. You know? And it's the same with this whole women garbage where it's like, guys are already leaving the church. And I think that's how you're going to do this. Because guys, let's be honest here. At the end of the day, these institutions can't stand without male finances. They can't. And we were talking about it during Rule Zero. And Mike, I love like Mike from the Heroes Fortress doing this. He's creating his own D&D clubs. He's making his own card shops. I don't know if he does anything like with like gatherings of faith, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does it. Like he's creating his own community. And if you want something, if you're a churchgoer and you're like, no, my church is feminized, leave and take some guys with you, you know? Let's continue.
Why does the paper trail and the data say the opposite? Well, there's only one reason, and that's because there is an agenda. And if they didn't want us to know that, they wouldn't be telling us to our faces. The Loose
Yeah, because there's a lot of hubris going on, you know? A lot. Where they're starting to rub it in our face.
Foundation, which I'll get to more on in a bit, funded Columbia University's Center for Democracy, Toleration, and Religion, a progressive initiative explicitly aimed at injecting Skittles ideology, feminism, and
Skittles ideology, I love it.
Progressive values into traditional Christian institutions through clergy and scholarships to make it more quote-unquote tolerant and compliant with modern seculars.
The message. It's everywhere.
33 years in ministry, he is now officially ordained and says he's the first openly gay pastor in the Presbyterian Church in Greater Columbus.
It's okay to be who you are, and it's to be inclusive, and it's to be loving, and it's to be missional.
There's many.
It has nothing to do with the faith, and it's because the faith let it happen.
NGOs and private corporate donors, in fact, who allocate large portions of their budget towards the infiltration of various churches around the country. Especially you've seen mega churches, right? Protestant mega churches.
Fordham University, ran by the Jesuits, hosted the 2023 Outreach LGBTQ Ministry Conference, where panels promoted the idea of female and Skittles clergy.
I mean, it's always the boomers, man. The boomers are so susceptible to this nonsense. The night of the pillow can't come soon enough in Minecraft.
Interpreting the Bible to co-sign Skittles activities and how the church should
increase participation. He advocates for women to have more authority and leadership roles. That's how it happens. And so many guys are so thirsty to get their dick touched. Criticizing the church's reliance on patriarchy and the exclusion of women from decision-making roles. Pastoral support. While noticing the Vatican's current prohibition on women priests, he highlights and praises the work of women theologians, divinity masters, and religious sisters, often highlighted that Christ welcomes all to spread the gospel. It says in the Bible itself. No. It's like the codices, the codex, you know? There are no female custodians. And now all of a sudden women get into Warhammer. Oh, there are female custodians. No, it's in the lore. It's in the lore. No. And that's where you vote with your wallet and your feet, boys.
better affirm Skittles Catholics.
So I'll explain how this is done. They call it clergy training. Right. So what they'll do is they'll come in and say, hey, look, we want to train your clergy for the problems of modernity. You know, we'll have professional psychologists come in, they'll assist with the training and this and that. And what it actually does is it erodes the system over time.
So-called theologians like Natal.
It is, oh, Lord in heaven, it's Jabba the Hutt. It is called the long march through the institutions. And there's only one way to stop it. And that's saying, no, we're not going to do it. You know what I was thinking about, by the way? Speaking of all that, you know what a awesome actual Star Wars sequel would have been like? A good one. So, okay. Hear me out on this one, because this is what got me thinking on all this. You have the prequels, where the Senate is like this bureaucratic, corrupt bullshit. And you have the Jedi who have become dogmatic, you know, which made room for the Empire. And then, okay, Luke overthrows the Empire in Return of the Jedi. But then they have to rebuild everything. A good sequel would have been Leia's struggle not to become a bureaucratic cesspool and Luke's struggle not to become dogmatic. It would have been their struggle to find the actual gray. That would have been awesome, you know, because he could have gone with the politics of the prequels, but then the storytelling of the original trilogy. How cool would that have been? Where it's like, oh, it's not the Jedi way, but what if the Jedi were wrong? What if the Empire had, you know, what if the Empire had its reason? Which is like, how dare we ask that, you know? Why did the Empire do what it did? Did what it do? You know what I mean. Like, why did Coruscant fall? And they go from there. Like, what made the Republic such a horrible bureaucratic mess? Did we falter? Why did the Empire gain power so easily? You had it at the first line. Okay, thank you, Alan. And that is the world we're going to get into, you know? Because now we are swinging like the LGBT. We're going Weimar Republic, you know? We're going Weimar again. And that's not good. But our ancestors knew you have to say no to this nonsense. And it's like strong men create good times create weak men create horrible times, and horrible times create strong men. We're in the horrible times creating strong men now. But then strong men have to make good times. And do you think that's going to go without struggle? Oh, no. You know? Best I can do as a girl boss. And make her gay and lame. You know? Exactly.
Alia and Paratori Lee publicly celebrate young women's passions for quote-unquote women's equality in the church and praise activism that confronts male-led harm.
Dude, if I had ever started church, if you're over 135 as a woman, you don't get a say in anything. You know? If you don't look good in a Nami film red outfit, I ain't gonna give a shit.
Feminist theologians use a methodology that involves...
By the way, if I have female watchers and you think you can rock that Nami outfit from Film Red, I'd love to judge that.
Deconstructing problematic issues, searching the tradition for alternatives, and reconstructing those in a liberative key. Utilizing...
It's the deconstruction. We want to deconstruct everything. We think we can do better. Deconstruct. No. How about we leave it as it is? Because we know what happens when it doesn't, and you get your grubby little hands off of it. If you want to start in it, this is the thing with communists. Tolkien was right. You know, Tolkien was right. Evil cannot create. It can only infect and destroy. And you know how it infects people? By infiltrating. This is why thirst is the worst. Why do you think it's always women? Because women are brilliant agents of chaos, you know? Because thirst is the worst and nobody dares to say no to women. Because as soon as somebody says no to women, these guys get excommunicated. I see the same thing in the expat community, man. I see the same thing in the expat community. If you are a guy and you dare to tell a woman no or make a misogynistic joke, you know, they will hound you. And they're all Vichy males, you know? They're all these allies. Ugh. The trick is to do it charmingly. I can get away with it every now and then because I don't push it, but my God. These women actually think they rule the world. They're always fat and ugly, you know? The Belarusian never does this. The Belarusian is great, you know? Belarusian is amazing with that nonsense. She doesn't put... of course, she gives me shit every now and then for being a little bit jealous. Her being jealous is giving me the shit, by the way. And rightfully so, because, you know, I ain't a bad-looking guy. You know, it works in my favor. But she is not like, oh, this offended me, or, oh, how misogynistic. She actually made fun of me a while back. I told her she was like a cat, you know. Oh, so clingy, you know. Or something I said. What was it? I made a joke about not buying her chocolate. And then she'll like me more. And she looks at me. She's like, is that what you tell your other males? Not buy chocolate for their girlfriend. Make them dependable on you. Because she kind of knows what I'm doing. And she makes fun of it, which is hilarious. And I told her, like, yeah, that's kind of what I tell them. Like, don't buy anything nice for her. She'll love you for it. And she looks at me like, You know, you have to make a laugh about it. But never this nonsense of like, I'm offended and you should apologize. I don't think the Belarusian has ever told me to apologize to her. No, not at all.
The social sciences and other disciplines, and then building back up.
These are the same people and the same...
Yeah, but everything you build up is like it's always the same. Communist shithole. We are all Rhodesia.
Foundations that are receiving millions and millions of dollars from institutional hierarchies.
Lots of things in the tradition that
I wonder what her conviction is.
we have to say, you know, it's not good news, and we have to find a coherent way. I mean, I think that's a theme in all of my courses. The church just changed. That's okay, because it's the trad people.
Yeah, and men are leaving. I wonder why men are leaving. Why is the red pill so popular? Why do you think they fight so hard against it? This is what communists do. You have to look. At the end of the day, it really is as simple as good versus evil. Now, I'm not saying women are evil. I'm just saying women are more susceptible to evil because they want to belong and they know how to use the tools that women are susceptible against, like ostracization. You know, women fear ostracization more than anything, you know? Men aren't. But at the end of the day, it really is the leech versus the host. It really is, at the end of the day, the leech versus the host, communist versus capitalist, individual versus the collectivist. It really is. And communists always do this. They infiltrate an institution, they suck it life out, and then they blame the host for dying. They blame the host for dying. When the host is like, I don't want this anymore. Like in England, so many millionaires are leaving. Who gets the blame? All the millionaires. The men are leaving the church. Who gets the blame? The men. You know why? Because men actually fund that shit. The most competent and prosperous members of a society are always the ones they blame first, but they're always the ones that leave first as well. Every communist nation goes through this nonsense. They leave first. Look at Rhodesia, look at England, look at Cuba, look at whatever. Look at whatever communist shithole. It's the most prosperous people leave first, leaving the leeches to suck the corpse dry. And then they blame all the rich people. It's like, oh, this is all your fault. What, for choosing not to let you suck my blood? Eat a dick. And then these people go to Texas, and these people go to Louisiana and Florida, and now it's looking like Texas is being flipped red. You know? Oh, yeah. I mean, Peterson has very good points. I love Peterson to be a monster, not a rabbit. His most overlooked advice. You know? His most overlooked advice. But Peterson had good points. His dating advice is horrible. As long as he stays out of that, he's fine. But I have that with a lot of people. I love Stefan Molyneux, but as soon as he opens his mouth about dating, I'm like, please shut up. You know nothing about this at all.
They both share a pure version of Catholicism that I don't think is tenable long term. We have to have that complicated view. I don't see another way out of that. And feminism is just one way.
That's good for women to have the right to vote, the right to work. I think that Catholics and Christians can take some kind of form of feminism that seeks that.
No. What is that Warhammer quote? What is that Warhammer quote? Tolerance leaves you open to betrayal and... What was it? I have the image somewhere. Where is it? I have you... Where do I have you? It's a good fucking quote. Where are you? Roller would know it from the top of his head. Yeah. Yes. The reward of tolerance are treachery and betrayal. That's it. That's the one.
Equality, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And if you think this is something recent, this is nothing new. And we'll get to that, but the fact is these...
No, my friend. Dalrock. Guys, look it up. Dalrock. Oh, tomorrow's show, by the way, we're going to go through the sidebar. So look forward to that.
Videos take weeks to produce each, and I'm currently a one-man team, but luckily the supporters over at buymeacoffee.com/lungs have God's dream for humanity. So the stated goal is, he says, quote unquote, the Banton assembled a revising committee to, according to her, correct biblical interpretation.
Correct biblical interpretation. Lady, the words are right there. You know, how clear do you want it?
Viewed as biased against women, coming up with their own version called the Women's Bible, where the foreword explicitly discusses how Christianity is too powerful of a structure and they can't get rid of it, so instead they will have to change it from within. In the
Oh, you can just, oh God. Yeah, you can just see these gals were lookers, you know. These girls would get all the studs. Man. They were getting hot and heavy with a 19th century clavicular, I can tell you that. By God.
Forward, she literally says, quote unquote, the Bible and the church have been the greatest stumbling blocks in the way of women's emancipation.
Every time. Kill the institution. Long march through the institution. If you guys want a good, and I mean a good playbook on this nonsense, read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Go read that. If you haven't, look, this is also a problem I have with conservatives. They never read the literature of the enemy. Do it. Read Rules for Radicals. And all of this will become so clear. They hold you to standards they themselves do not have. You know? The only thing, I do think Trump has read Rules for Radicals because he makes fun of them, you know, which is in there. Humor is your greatest ally, which the left, for some reason, has not, you know, done. You want me to read the Torah? Yeah. Yeah. Judaism is fine, though, right? Now that you mention it. Never hear them infiltrating that. Yeah, how odd. They never infiltrate the synagogue. Oh no. Do I want to look this up? Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Okay. Early life check. Stanton Pline. Oh no. Okay, no. It's a square. Sorry. Oh no. Okay. Please no. Don't. Come on. Okay. I'm gonna Control F this. Oh no. Okay. Wait, in her book, Stanton explicitly denied much of what was central to traditional Christianity, saying, I do not believe that any man ever saw or talked with God. I do not believe that God inspired the Mosaic Code or told the historians what they say he did about women. For all the religions on the face of the earth degrade her, and so long as women accept this position that they assigned her, her emancipation is impossible. In the book's closing words, Stanton expressed the hope for reconstructing a more rational religion for the 19th century and thus escape all the perplexities of the Jewish mythology. Oh. As of no more importance than those of the Greeks. Okay. Okay. We're in the clear. We're in the clear. Nothing going on. Nothing going on. I am not suicidal.
Sarah Bessey, another so-called Christian feminist and author of Jesus
Sarah Bessey.
Feminist, explicitly states that, quote-unquote, patriarchy is not God's dream for...
Okay. I'm going to look you up, though. I'm going to look you up. Sarah Bessey. Nope. She's in the clear.
Humanity. So the stated goal is obviously not to try to get rid of traditional Christians. It's simply to divide it enough to where they won't...
No, they do want to get rid of it. They just don't want to get rid of it, obviously.
Won't be a threat to national security and global interests. Now, if you don't believe that any of this is real and this is all just a conspiracy, well, we don't have to look far to see the effects of this pop Christianity everywhere. Just look at two of the most popular so-called Christian female influencers promoting modest clothing under 3 Nails clothing to millions of followers.
We are always looking for pieces that feel like us, something we can move in, feel confident in, and still reflect our values.
That's why we've been loving the new collection from 3 Nails.
Wow. It's activewear that's modest, comfortable, and made for real movement. Whether it's a morning workout or just showing up with intention, these pieces were built to support you.
Why is it censored? I think I've seen this, but it's not even that bad. It's just tight.
3 Nails is all about faith-forward living, and this collection speaks to all who carry strength with softness and purpose in everything they do.
Check out the new drop from 3 Nails.
This is also a thing where it's like, why does all the gym attire have to be like gym bikinis? I saw a video of TikTok, and this girl was like wearing a cleavage top, and she's like, oh, when you work out with a man next to you, and she had to cover her breast. It's like, first of all, she barely had breasts. Like an A cup doesn't count, you know, a B cup doesn't count either. But yeah. And it's like, if you don't want to be looked at, then why are you wearing the damn top, you dumb cow? Like, that's also a thing. Like, can we bring that back? I've always said, like, if I ever had a gym and a girl would walk in with that nonsense, I'd kick her the hell out. Like, no, we're not doing that here. This is not a fucking dance club. You're not here parading around your chest. You know, if you want to show me your tits, come with me to the back, okay? I'll give you a nice rating. But if you're going to work out here, you're going to wear a fucking t-shirt. You're going to be covered. You know, we don't do that nonsense here because there's men here and men are visual creatures and these guys don't want to get distracted. If you want attention, go to the fucking street corner. Not in my gym. God damn it. Oh, he's a misogynist. Good. Your words mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer. I hate it when they tie the sweater around the waist. I'm trying to see your ass. Yep. Have you guys seen where girls put the back of their shirt in their bra strap? I asked a girl once, like, why do you do that? Oh, it just looks nice. It's like, really? Just looks nice. Meanwhile, they wear these Gymshark ass crack leggings. It's like, sure. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a guy. I love looking at it. But, and I've said this before, you get judged for looking. Like, you get dared for looking. And then when you look, they report you, you know? It's like, no, fuck that noise. Stop it.
Even the comments raise their eyebrows. This looks like any other gym clothing. Seems like a comedy skit. One points out the seriousness of invoking Christ's crucifixion so casually. Now, the problem goes much deeper, and the crazy part is that the title, Girls Gone Bible, literally directly borrows...
Yep. Created by Joe Francis. Oh boy. Softcore pornographer. Catholic. Huh. He was Catholic? Huh? He was Catholic. He's safe.
From pornography culture, applying it to scripture. Like, how does anyone think that this is appropriate?
Following the Lord, like following God, is not easy.
Oh no, can you imagine? It's not easy. Huh? I can't be a whore. Oh.
It's like, it's not easy. It's countercultural.
So we have a lot of very modest pieces. You know, even the swimwear that we have is very modest.
What is holy is repackaged for attention. Christianity becomes internal, claiming to be...
You know why, right? Because Christians want to be liked. They want to be liked. That is the biggest effing problem. Christianity is undermined for so long because Christianity doesn't have a backbone, unfortunately. The key thing, don't look away when the eyes meet mid-glance. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
About the heart, while the outward life stays worldly and is separated.
And we always say, come as you are, just don't stay that way. Let Jesus invade.
Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be.
Your life and change everything.
But Christ warns, by their fruit you shall know them, and that...
Yep.
Our heart is not separate from the rest of our body.
Because you see a trend, and a lot of men who have been traditional their whole lives and have now worked and achieved some degree of success, they say, yeah, but how do I know that the women who are closer to my age, who now say...
This is why you don't date closer to your age, buddy. This is why you date them 10 years younger. Also something that a lot of these Christian folk don't get. You date them younger. Yeah, you already caught. Give me the young. Yep, you got me.
They want to be a stay-at-home wife or a mom, or they want a more traditional relationship. When they...
It's funny, that girl, you know, gave me her number and whatever. Right in front of her husband, mind you, was 24. It's like, oh, she got married too early. And in a long-distance marriage, it's like, fuck, now I want to do it. Now I want to sleep with her, you know? Now I got it. Where it's like, fuck yeah, I can bang a married chick who's 24. It's like, oh, with a jealous husband? Oh, sign me up, baby. Jack's going to hell. I'd do it. just for the, you know, nothing like a good old-fashioned conquest. God, I love that. I really don't mind being the backdoor guy. Not at all. Jack, don't you have morals? Oh, I do. But, you know, it's just something in me. It's like, does he know you're here? No? Good. We're going to make him know. Ah! For the love of the game. Yep. I knocked up my ex-wife when she was 20 years old. God damn it, Bull. God damn. I got a bull in a porcelain shop. Of course, you ran into that shit and impregnated the bitch. Stood no chance.
Live their whole life progressively in a feminist way. How do I know that they're being genuine? And so
they aren't. You get them while they're 19.
A lot of guys aren't willing to take that risk, and they're checking out.
We see the same pattern online with two sides of the same coin. On one, you have modern hoe culture trying to rebrand itself as Christianity.
Yep, which is like the biggest psyop ever, and it's hilarious.
And on the other hand, you have performative trad wives.
And as a woman...
Oh, Tommy Lauren. Well, there go my testicles.
I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money. I see that as being actually masculine. That's
the only allowed masculinity is what, children? Feminine improved masculinity. The only allowed masculinity is feminine approved masculinity. Tommy Lauren is that prime example of that nonsense.
like the man that I grew up with, my dad. But what we're seeing now is these young men who
Bitch, you didn't grow up without a dad. If you did, you wouldn't be this harlot.
look at Andrew Tate and the Tate brothers. They're like, oh,
Tate would have you bend over backwards begging for more. Same as Lauren Southern.
great, that's a manly man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more feminist nonsense, ultimately. And the covert feminism in society is big, especially on the conservative side. So here's what happens, right? Women need to have feminine virtues for men to be pursuing masculine virtues, for you to say things like, what I want is...
Well, that's the thing, right? It's always like the chicken or the egg. But in all honesty, you know why a lot of men cop out? Because women ain't worth it. And women ain't worth it because men don't tell them no enough. So I can always see both sides of that spectrum, but there's also a lot of women who are told no and then just tell them to fuck off. It's like, you can't tell me what to do. It's like, okay, fine, but I'm not dealing with your ass, you know? And that's where everybody falls apart, you know? That's why everybody falls apart. And then they say, oh, it's the Sims' fault. It's like, I don't even think it's the Sims' their fault, in all honesty, you know? I wouldn't even blame them fully because, like, the Sims at the end of the day don't have a lot of influence on it. It's always like the guys who tick all the boxes. But there's even guys who tick all the boxes who have a hard time telling her no. But then the question is like, oh, are guys not telling her no? Are they Sims? I'm like, no. No, they're not. Like, the guys who are Sims who are paying for her and everything who, like, don't get it. You know, they don't get any poon. But you have guys who she gives it up to who don't tell her no, you know? And then you get that nonsense. Like, I've known, and even I have known a lot of people, even like men with frame, you know, but they still buy laptops and podcast equipment for girls who they know they're not going to get with, or they do, you know, but then still get backstabbed, you know? I've seen that shit happen where it's like, oi, you know? Where you're like, well, what do you do with that kind of thing? But I mean, in the long run, these girls will always like run into a wall, and not the wall, but like the metaphorical wall as well, where it's like they'll meet the man with the hammer, you know, they'll meet themselves there, where it's like, yeah, maybe you should have listened to no, and then they're gonna go the conservative route, where it's like, oh, men are weak. No, you're just a cunt, you know. And there goes my monetization, by the way, because I said a naughty word.
And there goes the monetization.
Yep.
for men to protect me and I want men to make money. Well, that's great. What that ends up doing is it gives you a set of privilege in society. What do men get? What do men get for doing that for you? What are we getting from women for doing that? Are we getting chaste virgins on our wedding night? No, we're not getting chaste virgins on our wedding night. Are we getting women of great virtue? No, we're not getting women of great virtue. The idea of court—
You can just see Tommy's like head bursting, like
love is supposed to be done for women of great virtue. Where are they? Well, they're nowhere.
Now there's a little bit of irony with you know what? I'm not gonna go into it because he's right. In general, he's right.
Male conservative influencers say this. It's actually a form of covert feminism. They're saying, I want privilege in society, but what is it women are giving to men to get it?
Oh, you can just see the smugness on this bitch. God. I mean, the guy she's with, he must have a wild time with her, you know? I can't imagine being Tommy Lauren's husband and not just like bending that woman over the couch and just having, man, he must like let all of his frustration out of her being able to live with her. Konnichiwa, Nuksan. Domo arigato. Hey, Mountain Man, good to see you. Mountain Man Tops. And we got Nuclear Cadillo. Good to see you, sir. Hello. How have you been? How was your weekend? Her nonverbal tells her a great story. Yeah. Oh, like I said, if her husband can't like let out all his frustration of the day on her, I don't know how he can be with her. Hey, Alex Patillo, good to see you. How was your weekend, man? Had a good day? Been at work? Can you imagine just going wild on that ass? Like, you're such a bitch, you fucking whore. I know he's having the time of his life. Jesus. And she loves it.
What?
These so-called traditional conservative Christian women come out on television in a face full of makeup and demand traditional values from a man, while wanting to keep modern values for themselves whenever it feels convenient.
Rules for thee, but not for me. Every time. I even wrote about this. God, which essay is that? I wrote about this where it's like, yeah, you have your traditional conservative women and things like that. Meanwhile, the only difference is that they color their hair beach blonde, but it still comes from the same bottle with a different label, but at the same drugstore that all these liberal feminists buy their hair dye. Why does he want men to get married then? Pick a lane, bro. Yeah, I get it. He just wants the Family Institute back. And from that perspective, I get it. You know, you would want a loving, healthy society that is mostly built by families, but they have the idealistic view of families in their mind where it's like, oh, the man loves the woman and this and that. Did you know that a lot of families were just miserable, where mom and dad stayed together for the kids kind of thing? Where it's like, is that really the image you want to give your kids kind of thing? And he should know this. It was like his first, I'm happy he's happy now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on him. But even for a majority of people who do get married, you know, it's just not the best.
And if you want to see how outsiders of Christianity see this type of apparent hypocrisy, look no further.
When you sit here and you go, you'll be more fulfilled doing this and spend all your time doing that. We would love for you to leave the public eye and go focus on what makes.
Yep. That is true, though. Candace Owens, like, where's Candace Owens, her husband? Why is she rambling off on Charlie Kirk's assassination? You know, Misha's right when he says no properly dicked down woman is online giving her opinion. They aren't.
You fulfilled. Okay.
Even figures that brand themselves as traditional end up rewriting history, like Lila Rose, who claims that stay-at-home.
Oh, I can't wait for the day Milo unleashes her dirt. Lila Rose, man, I am begging Milo to do it. I know Milo is sitting on something, and I can't wait for that nonsense to be released. Just like Gia McCool, you know, where it's like, oh, come on, man. Do it. Do I have skeletons in the closet? Probably, but you guys know I'm a fucking heretic. I'm a degen. I don't care. I publicly tweet about, you know, well, what's it I always do? Why, yes, I have embarrassed myself in the DMs. How did you know? Duh. Shoot or shoot. Fuck do I care? You know? But it's, and Nuke pointed this out. Like, guys, we don't care you like porn. We don't care you like to be spanning your mouth, ran down a rodeo and spinning upside down on a dick. But we hate you for playing better, holier than thou. That's our problem. You sit here pretending to be pure and virtuous, and meanwhile, you've got kinks we couldn't even dream of. We couldn't imagine that in our wildest dreams. That's our problem. And that's why I'm like, let the rapture happen. Man, Milo was sent by God to cleanse these worlds of sin. And he's going to laugh all the way to hell. He's got Pandora's box, man. You know it. You know he has it. And I can't wait for Lucifer to shine his brining fiery sword. God, that will be amazing. That would be apocalyptic. Like Nuke and I always talk about the rumbling. That will be worse than the rumbling. You know? That would be Revelations. That's Revelation level of like skeletons in the closet. Oh, God, I can't wait.
Motherhood is modern.
A man is provider, woman is a stay-at-home mom. That's a modern idea.
That's a modern idea. No, it's not. You dumb.
That is not a traditional idea, my friend.
Yes, it is a traditional idea, my friends. Yes, it is. You are a harlot and a charlatan.
While simultaneously getting involved in scandals regarding sexualizing Catholic priests on her podcast.
Father Mike Schmitz. I showed him to a girlfriend who's not Catholic, and she's like, when's Mass?
But even the very people who...
Okay, that's just funny. Oh, there she is again. Hello. I'm sorry. I'd do it. I'd throw myself on that grenade. It's that I don't know what, it's just the facial features. It's the blonde. It's like, God.
Were supposed to be on our team as so-called conservative further platform and amplify this trend. Take the quintessential example of Nala Ray, an OnlyFans model who...
Why does he censor that the whole time, you dip? Oh, man, her husband. Oh. Her husband is such a lost cause. How cool would it be if I banged Nala and gave her husband my book? That would make for an amazing story. God. I don't know. What is it about her face, right? Just, who knows? Maybe she wasn't SSRIs.
Claims she converted to Christianity while still promoting immodest content and selling online courses.
Oh, no. I never seen these. Rolo, how long have you been hiding this from me? Overcoming negative self-talk, embracing your identity in Christ. $15 a month. Guys, my Substack is cheaper. My Substack is cheaper. If this bitch can make so much money off our $15 courses, then why can't I have my $10 Substack? Link will be in the chat. I give you more value than this. What do you get? So this 4-week course helps you break free from negative self-talk and embrace your identity in Christ. I can do that within a week. Through scripture, journaling, and prayer, you'll replace the lies with truth. What lies? Overcome shame, and shame was a good thing. And lively boldly in God's love. Each week focuses on renewing your mind, walking in freedom, and building habits to sustain growth. By the end, you'll have tools to thrive in your identity as God's beloved. I'm in the wrong trade. I'm in the wrong business. Call me Father Jack. Motherfuckers, we're going to repent. And we're going to repent right now. We're going to let the casket go through the chat. You know, you are free to donate. You're not free. You're not leaving this goddamn church until you donate. We're all going to put something in the basket and we're all going to repent. We're going to repent our sins and we're going to goddamn like it. Sorry. We're going to gosh darn like it. I'm already learning. I'm adjusting my swear words. Frickin'. We're going to frickin' gosh darn like it. The basket will go through. Remember that Simpsons episode where Homer has got the basket and he's passing Mr. Burns, and Mr. Burns ignores it, and you keep pushing him with it. Yeah. Oh my God. Feelings, the course for $15. You want more bang for your buck? My Substack, over 100 essays, new essays every week, 3 free audiobooks with a 4th one incoming, private community, and monthly Q&As. I provide more value than that nonsense. Yet she's making bank. I need to grow a pair of tits. You know? Financial freedom. Oh, fucking God. Sorry. My freaking Jeebus. This 4-week course is designed to help participants align their financial practices with biblical. You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Through scripture-based lessons, practical tools, and reflective exercises, participants will learn how to manage money as... Cappy? Where's Cappy? Oh my God. Somebody send this to Cappy. And will learn to manage money as faithful stewards. Create a budget that honors... How do you create a budget that honors God? And cultivate a heart of generosity. And to whom might we be generous, love? To whom might we be generous? And cultivate a heart of generosity. The goal is to achieve financial freedom while glorifying God and advancing His kingdom. You'll deserve what's coming. Let the rapture happen. I'm done with this nonsense. Jacqueline Napier. Yeah. That's how I will be. That's a hell of value proposition. Sign up for the Substack. Gosh darn right. That I'm learning. Gosh darn right. I see Jack. I jack in. Hello, Yora. Good to see you. Guten Tag. Hello. But it's like I said, I'm in the wrong trade. I need to do scripture.
Criticized as theologically heretical. When called out by Orthodox Christians online, she went into defense mode, accusing everybody critical of her of being Pharisaical.
Oh, hey, our boy.
If it was the case, really, that they were converting because they had made a mess of their life, they were sorry about it, you'd never hear from them again. Or you would hear one last thing. You would just hear, I'm really...
Who's this guy? Who's that? I don't know who that is. Not gonna lie, the West Coast Avengers, I mean, don't be... Dad, don't do that.
Sorry. And in humility and repentance, I'm going to go take some time with the church and my church to get my together. And maybe they come back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I have this essay called All Apologies. And yeah, that's a Nirvana reference. Where are you? All Apologies. Which is also known as Never Apologize to Women. But it goes into when an apology matters and when an apology is like a manipulation tool. And what you see with a lot of these women is that it's a tool of manipulation, because look at what happens with men who go against it. They're shamed, shunned, and excommunicated. That's how you know it's not a genuine apology. Let's say something happens between me and Rob. You know, let's say something happens between me and Rob. And I sincerely apologize to Rob. But Rob is like, no, you went too far. It's done. And then I go on this stream and bitch and moan about Rob. How sincere was my apology? Was it sincere, or was I just trying to manipulate Rob into getting to do what I want him to do? And then use that for my own gain. You know? Or do I go live and be honest with all of you where it's like, hey, I messed up. I apologized. I do mean it. But, you know, we concluded it's not going to continue anymore. And I'm owning up to it. This was my beat. Point the finger at me, done. Do you see these women do that? No, they don't want to accept me. They're mean. That's not how the Bible's written. And that's how you know it's not sincere. If they were sincere, they would have been like, you know what? I get it. I've done some things. The turn to Christianity is a little bit sporadic, spontaneous. I think it's best for me to go offline and done. But no, they won't. They make a brand out of this bullshit. And so many men just gobble that shit up. And a lot of OnlyFans girls do it as well. That's how the funnel is created, because girls know they can get away with it. And let's be honest here, guys. If you could do it, you would do too. I would do too. I would do the same. If I can repent, show my tits for 12 and a half years and then all of a sudden become a Christian, hell yeah, I'd do it. But it's smart and it's a strategy. And look, is this me? Look, how is this relevant to your daily life? I know that a lot of my audience is of the Christian faith, and they don't feel like they're at home anymore in the church because of this nonsense. I want to give you guys the tools to filter women like this out. Again, go read all apologies, Go read all apologies. The essay is here. There. Go read that. And it's actually about that little accident in a Toyota Tacoma, for people who remember that, where somebody apologized to us and I didn't take it. That person did not take that too kindly. He was pissed. And I'm like, you're proving my point. If you had any genuineness in that apology, you would have been like, I get why Jack said it. Maybe he'll warm up to me later, but I get it. Nope. Instead of that, he went on screaming in his car for 1.5 hours. That's how I knew. Your apology is a manipulation tactic. If you were genuinely sorry, you would have shut the fuck up. But they don't. They don't. You should do a reaction to Sky Kuno drama where one of his side pieces accused him of manipulating her and cheating on her. Oh, I heard about that. I don't know enough about it to make an interesting thing, I think. Might have to read into it. But I did see a little bit of it where it's like, oh, hot guy does hot guy things. Oh, no. Oh, no. By the way, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, by the way. I want to get this to 5K. We've passed 4,200. I think we can get there. I think we can get there easily. So now that we're here, why not subscribe? Why not hit that like? It's all free. Let us continue.
Back in 5 years, great. And then you get the welcome, but you don't go, well, I went and got baptized at heresychurch.com, right? And now I'm going to tell you how to be the right kind of Christian.
Now, compare this to parallel examples we have of Orthodox female saints who were also once for.
I think that's where a lot of Andrew's popularity comes from, where a lot of Christian men are just sick and tired of this fucking nonsense.
Former prostitutes like Mary of Egypt, where after her reversion, she did decades of fasting, isolation in the desert, radical transformation. Only then was she recognized for her holiness. And the point isn't that everybody's called to such extreme ascetic struggles, but the difference is black on white. While the church always welcomes sinners, that doesn't mean that they get an instant platform.
That was also my problem with the evangelical church. There were single moms there who I had not met a week before trying to pass over drinks with me orally, where I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. This girl was drinking like mojitos or something, and she took a sip and she had it in her mouth and she's like, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? She wanted to pass it over to me in my mouth. I'm like, gross. I mean, it was fun. The idea was fun, but I didn't drink anymore. And I'm like, And then the next day, there she was in the church. And Yora knows her. I'm not going to say her name. But she was short. 2 kids from 5 different dads, 2 brothers. Went to high school with us for the first year. After that, she got kicked off because she needed to go to an institute or something. Weird as fucking shit. Don't mention her name in the chat either. That will get me into trouble. Just keep it classy, bro. Yeah, I know. My ex-wife joined an evangelical church after our divorce. Lol. Lamau even. I know. I don't know what it is with evangelicals. I don't know what it is. It's just, I can't put my finger on it. It's basically textbook plate spinning and the shaming from women who used it. Yeah, I know. Okay, so that's what it's about. I hear you. I want to give a quick shout out again to Chad Twister Stroke, Hank Hammer, Retro Gamer, Chad, Michael Traptree, our good friend, the Heroes Forge, and of course, Chad of Arabia with a gift of 10. Thank you guys so much for the generous donations. I appreciate that a lot. Now let us continue.
Instant authority, instant influence. For many young women, these examples become their spiritual formation. Not the church fathers, not the saints, and not liturgy. The real question is, how did these ideas spread so effectively, even within Christianity?
Internet.
Itself.
Oh.
The Easter Bonnet Rebellion. One of the most blatant public attacks on traditional Christian practice came in 1969 with the Easter Bonnet Rebellion. You'll see why this came about in a second, but before we get into this insane example of subversion, a word from this video's sponsor. If we're serious about resisting the degeneracy of our cultural unveiling, they urged women across America to enter churches without head coverings and to attempt to receive communion from their priest, deliberately defying canon law and the long-standing Christian practice rooted in 1 Corinthians 11, where women veiled as a sign of submission, modesty, and order. Feminists wore flashy Easter bonnets as a symbol of rebellion, then removed them inside churches to protest what...
Easter Bonnet Rebellion. Let me check this. Easter Bonnet Rebellion. Where's the Wikipedia? Who did all that nonsense? The Easter Bonnet Rebellion took place the following Easter at a Milwaukee church for an uncovered head. Elizabeth Variance. Okay, there you go. We need to look into this woman. We're gonna look into you. We're gonna go all the way here. Let me see. Ooh. Okay. Wouldn't I be surprised? Oh, nope. Nope. Oh, God, she looks horrible. Elizabeth Variance. Ugh. Horrible. Does she have a tiny hat? No. She does not. Let us continue.
They called a quote-unquote outmoded and discriminatory rule. They framed head coverings as oppressive patriarchy rather than biblical obedience. This wasn't spontaneous, though. The feminist movement, heavily supported by elite funding, including Rockefeller-linked networks and progressive foundations, turned a visible symbol of Christian gender order into a target. Churches largely folded, and within a few years, the practice of...
That's the problem. They keep folding.
Women veiling in worship largely disappeared from mainstream Catholicism and Protestantism and was obscured from Catholic canon law, but it most importantly illustrated something much darker.
They still do it in Georgia. I see it the whole time. Women still covered.
That none of this was grassroots.
Oh my Lord. Are we getting into things where I think we're heading?
Here's where all of this gets interesting and much more clear, because this...
Oh, I'm worried. Guys, get on the Substack now, because this might be the last stream we'll ever do.
didn't happen by accident. Christianity didn't drift into progressivism overnight. It was steered there through deliberate incentives, elite social engineering, and lots of money throughout the 20th century. Now, before we get to that, we need to understand something called ecumenism. There are generally understood to be two types. Real historical ecumenism, which means actual dialogue without sacrificing, changing, or watering down the core truths of the Orthodox faith.
I did not know this word.
And the goal in that is unity in truth, not unity at any cost. And 2, geopolitical ecumenism. It uses the nice sounding word unity as a tool to control and change the churches. Tossing
Yep. Remember, words are tools of manipulation.
Truth and doctrine out the window for nice sounding unity. And it stops sounding so nice once we look into where exactly it originated. Here's how it actually works. Step 1. They create big organizations, like the World Council of Churches, that bring lots of different churches together under one roof. Step 2. They offer money, prestige, and influence. Seminaries, pastors, and leaders who go along with the program get grants, fancy professorships, media attention, and powerful friends. Step 3. They shift the main goal. Instead of quote-unquote stay faithful to historic Christianity, the new goal becomes visible unity, social justice, climate change, inclusivity.
Why is it always climate change? Why is it always climate change? Is that like the appeal to fear? Is that it? Because every time, man, I saw that video of that guy leaving Germany, and a lot of people give him shit for not wanting to mention the migrants, where I'm like, nah, he does mention them. He does kind of mention them with indirectly, which is kind of weak. But that green nonsense is like putting a tie around Europe's neck, man. A lot of that green energy nonsense where it's like, always climate change.
Breaking down barriers, progressive agendas, and serving the world. Step 4. They slowly pressure everyone to compromise by tightening the screws. So how did this mechanism actually play out in history?
Riverside. It's 10th of September 1930, and then biggest belle in America starts journey to Laura Spelman Rockefeller Carillon, atop picturesque Riverside Memorial Church above the Hudson on Manhattan Island.
The Rockefellers poured millions of dollars into the World Council of Churches.
Oh, interesting. But I have heard about the Rockefellers.
The National Council of Churches, Union Theological Seminary, and Riverside Cathedral, among many other different institutions, to birth a new, soft, social gospel, new Christianity that prioritized global unity, interfaith dialogue, globalist agendas, and left-leaning causes over hard doctrine and world rejection. The amount of funding for this stuff from big institutions will blow your mind. Arcus Foundation, based out of New York and Cambridge, has poured millions into Skittles religious inclusion, faith leader training, and countering conservative religious narratives, often advancing acceptance efforts inside Christianity.
Really? Arcus Foundation. Okay. Arcus Foundation. Let's look this up. Do we want to? Yep. Arcus Foundation. Thank you. Arcus Foundation. International Charitable Foundation. Oh, look at that. Who founded this? Founder, John Stryker. Interesting. Nope. Is clear.
$3 million to Kalamazoo College, Michigan for its faith-linked social justice center, $15 million towards global transgender advocacy, and $120,000 to Religion News Service, a U.S. media influencing and religious reporting institution. Then you have the Ford Foundation, a massive global grant maker with $732 million in annual giving in 2023, and $768 million total grants across 2,000.
I don't understand why, like, Ford would be doing this. Gender justice, reproductive rights, and progressive Christian organization. I don't understand why they are doing it.
1,288 grants in 2024, channeling significant resources into so-called gender justice, reproductive rights, and progressive Christian organizing. In 2024, they gave $94.3 million plus $36.3 million towards gender justice initiative, many intersecting with faith leaders on so-called reproductive rights. Then you have Open Society Foundations, having spent $24.2 billion globally since
founded by billionaire business magnate George Soros. I don't know why that guy keeps doing it.
1993 with $436 million in annual expenditures in 2023. It funds Skittles advocacy, intersecting with faith communities and progressive religious actors, directs millions of dollars into women of color-led and faith-rooted reproductive justice activism, including $5 million to 84 so-called grassroots groups in a recent cycle, the Global Fund for Women. Since 1987, it has moved nearly $250 million in grants to over 5,000 so-called grassroots feminist organizations, including 1,384 grants totaling support for sexual and so-called reproductive health rights to 832 groups. It has seeded women's funds globally, around $8.3 million to 35 funds, intersecting heavily with faith centers. Now, I could literally go on for hours and hours listing all of them, but the key takeaway is this: hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into efforts that promote progressive reinterpretations of Christianity and traditional faiths through inclusion, reproductive justice, and gender equity programming. And some people still have the gall to say that there's no such thing as a global elite network trying to subvert traditional Christianity. The WCC was explicitly designed as an ecumenist globalist project. Its own constitution calls churches to pursue, quote, visible unity in one faith and one Eucharistic fellowship through witness and service to the world. Convenient, isn't it? Meanwhile, the billionaire Henry Luce, Skull and Bones member, Yale class of 1920, founder of Time and Life magazines, and the man who literally coined the phrase the American century in his famous 1941 Life editorial piece, used his Luce Foundation to systematically flood seminaries and universities with progressive theology, including feminism. Evangelical Protestant institutions were particularly of interest because they were highly organized, influential, and relatively less tied to entrenched hierarchies.
I never knew these things. Like I said, I never watched videos before I react to them, but I find this to be pretty interesting, in all honesty, where it's like, wow, I never knew Ford was like involved in this.
Making them the easiest asset to shape. In that 1941 manifesto, Luce declared that the 20th century must be, to a significant degree, an American century. He meant a century in which American progressive democratic internationalism would shape the world, including its religious landscape. We see this illustrated in all of the wars and all of the politics that the US decided to get itself involved with in the late 20th century. The Foundation's own programs made this concrete. The Henry R. Luce Professorship Program is the most notable, which launched in 1968. And it installed 71 professorships at 56 universities across the United States. These endowed chairs were explicitly created to, quote-unquote, encourage academic experimentation and creativity, and to support, quote-unquote, innovative interdisciplinary teaching and learning. In practice, rewarding scholars who advanced religious pluralism, democratic internationalism, and a more adaptive, less dogmatic faith, particularly within evangelical seminaries and Protestant schools. They didn't stop at individual chairs. The Foundation also ran
Henry Luce was a Republican.
Henry Luce III Fellows in Theology program from 1993 to 2018, which funded 160 faculty members in theological schools for research that strengthened, quote-unquote, the links among theological research, churches, and wider public. Even more targeted, the Luce Foundation gave a major grant to Columbia University to establish the Center for the Study of Democracy, Toleration, and Religion, CDTR. Founded in 2006 through the Henry R. Luce Initiative on Religion and International Affairs, the center's stated mission is to conduct research and training on, quote, the interfaces of and tensions between religion, toleration, and democracy in the world. In plain English, it exists to examine how traditional religions, especially flexible Protestant denominations, can be made more compatible with modern democratic pluralism and toleration, providing a mechanism for wedging progressive values, including feminist and egalitarian interpretations of scripture and authority, into historic faiths, specifically the traditional faiths, the ones that they see as the biggest threat to the progressive agenda, which would be Orthodoxy, traditional Catholicism, some forms of Protestantism.
Oh, then this shit is coming to Georgia soon, I think, because Georgia is a very Orthodox country. And I mean very.
Islam, things like this. The official Luz Foundation description of its religion and theology program today, quote, we seek to deepen public knowledge of religion and to draw on the wisdom of faith traditions to advance a shared understanding. This goes hand in hand with the same networks and founders as the ones who founded the Abrahamic Faith Center, which is the one that has a Catholic church next to an Islamic mosque, next to, I believe, a synagogue, if I'm not mistaken. These people do not care about your personal beliefs. That's one thing I want to get across here. They do not care what God you believe in or what you worship or what values you hold dear. These people are primarily atheists. For the most part, they just see this as a tool for control. So next time you get labeled as a conspiracy theorist for saying that something has changed with the Christian women, you can send them this video because anyone with a brain cell can see clearly this was not neutral scholarship. It was strategic placement of handpicked academics who would reward and amplify the very ideas that softened hard doctrine, elevated pluralism over exclusivity, and aligned Christianity, particularly evangelical Protestantism, with the American century vision of a democracy.
Yep, especially the evangelicalism. Oh, wow. I think I was right when I said that, like, love thy neighbor, love thy enemy, especially love thy enemy is like an enemy is somebody who you can disagree with within the faith, not a non-believer. Because when you look at Judaism and like Islam, they literally see non-believers as like not even human. You know, and then Christianity would be the only one who sees non-believers as like part of the group and, you know, forgive them and blah, 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 and love your enemy. I don't think it works like that.
Democratic internationalism.
Nope, democracy is indeed.
And the CIA was heavily involved in the game. Declassified documents from the Cold War era doctrinal warfare program detailed in David Wemhoff's research reveal a coordinated effort involving the State Department, Defense Department, Henry Luce's media empire, and CIA operatives. Their mission was to infiltrate universities,
Is that Patrick Bet David? Holy shit. Looks like Patrick Bet David.
Papers and theological circles to influence doctrine. They pushed Americanism into Protestant churches and beyond using psychological operations, conferences, and funding to reshape morality and theology. CIA quote from David Wimhoff's book noting the doctrinal warfare program, C.D. Jackson's program together with Henry Luce Foundation, quote, the Department of State was responsible for increasing doctrinal materials in the voice of America's broadcasts, particularly for publicizing and promoting interests of doctrinal and theological matters. Quote, the Department of State was responsible for increasing doctrinal materials in Voice of America broadcasts, particularly for publicizing and promoting interest of doctrinal and theological matters. The Department of Defenses during the Cold War was responsible for providing officers and enlisted personnel in service schools and units with a doctrinal and theological background. Speeches, technical magazines, and others would be involved in this corporate doctrinal aspect. The CIA's responsibility was set forth in an annex called Annex B, a top-secret document that was later declassified in 2013. The CIA stated, quote, infiltrate individuals.
You guys know about the CIA and rock and roll? That's also a very interesting story.
Into foreign associations with theological potential, doctrinal potential, including newspapers, universities, etc., to influence their output. When appropriate, stimulate through non-attributable means, conferences and means of public forums, matters of doctrinal issue, academic forums, academic gatherings, conferences, interfere with promotion and distribution of hostile doctrinal theology that is hostile to the agenda of Americanism. That's why now when you look around you at the evangelical landscape, you primarily see feminism, Zionism, the prosperity gospel, and things like this. A mere hollow shell of what Christianity truly is. So where does this leave us now? Discipline is now labeled as pharisaical. Hard fasting, traditional gender roles, and rejection of the world gets mocked as legalism. Meanwhile, a soft, adaptive faith, heavy on empathy, light on demands, gets rewarded with platforms, funding, and cultural approval. Popes can support radical reforms. Vatican II reshaped centuries of tradition. Archbishops and megachurch scandals make headlines, and entire institutions bend under pressure. But there's a massive divide. Young men sense the fraud, and a lot of them are fleeing towards orthodoxy and more rigorous discipline.
It's been an amazing change in the last 10 years or so. Since COVID, since 2020, they've just come out in droves. It's accelerating. Snowball.
Young women, on the other hand, shaped by these incentives, often stay and split off.
Yeah, because women are free. Nobody wants to give up their freedom. They're not gonna. You know when they're gonna do it when they're 30, because that is like the timeline Rollo pointed out. That's when it works best for them. But the orthodoxy is kind of like, yeah, we're not gonna do it. But as long as you have these evangelicals who are like, just take them without a question, you're gonna keep seeing that.
Off to liberal sects which will reinforce their way of life and remake the faith in the image of the surrounding culture.
Women's Day! Who's excited to be here? Coffee lovers?
What should scare us isn't that people sin. That's always going to happen. That's always happened. And in fact, it's when we become blind to that, that's when we become Pharisees. It's that the Christian message itself is being softened and repackaged and sold as something nice and inclusive. Christ ate with sinners, but he offered them repentance, not forced, but offered. Christ's gift to the world is exactly that. It is a gift. And it is the Orthodox Church. This is why orthodoxy stands structurally resistant to all of these problems. Without a centralized pope, the church functions synodally, like Acts 15 in the Bible shows. Even if some clergy or even bishops or
you have that here in Georgia, and it shows. It shows, I'll tell you that.
Communities are compromised, the corruption cannot ripple through the entire faith. That decentralized government preserves truth, protects the sacraments, and keeps holiness alive. We must reject lies, the fake Christianity that prioritizes cultural approval over God. True Christianity is not a brand or content or some sort of identity or shirt that you put on to make yourself feel better. It's sacrifice, discipline, humility, and love that never compromises truth. Look to the saints in the Synaxarion of the Orthodox Church. They are the examples to follow. Mary, the Mother of God, radical obedience. Saint Mary of Egypt, total transformation and rejection of the world. The Church Fathers taught men and...
But I mean, do you really think that's going to happen? Like, the world is not going to turn, like... it's not going to turn this tomorrow. Know what's happening. And, like, what would my solution be? My solution would be to men look at the playing field and... like, stop shooting yourself in the foot where it's like, I'm not going to give in to sin. Have fun being sexless, And I know, like, religious reasons and whatever, but I think God would understand, where it's like, hey, I would be like, just make sure they can't get your resources, Several times, all of them, a Christian has the most useful narratives and mental models. Yeah. No, but what are you going to do with this? Well, what do you want? Do you want a sexless life? Because if you do, then, keep doing what you're doing. But if you don't want this, well, then know what you're dealing with and know that you're not going to, like, even in the Orthodox Church, I don't think you can even find the very pure woman there, in all honesty. Accept the fact that women are women, and accept the fact that a lot of these words and gospels and things like that are meant to keep you down while the rest of the world is indulging. Now, you can fight me on that, which I'm perfectly fine with. I could be wrong. But I'm seeing a lot of this as, like, you're going to be good while the rest of the world is not good, yet they're better off for it. And I'm like, you know what? Get yours, kind of thing. Don't sell yourself short, is what I would recommend. Don't sell yourself short.
women virtue, modesty and piety, not applause and attention and vainglory. St. John Chrysostom said lasting beauty is in virtue, not in the body. St. Basil and St. John Cassian say that living in virtue changes more than words ever could. And one of my favorites, St. Seraphim of Sarov, says that acquire the Holy Spirit and thousands around you will be converted. Orthodoxy is a lived faith. It's not a philosophical system or merely a set of propositions that we can abstract our way to God from. Step into an Orthodox church and it's like returning to the old world. This is war for the soul and for the church, and we fight with every ounce of truth and courage. The only hopeful future for America is an Orthodox America in an Orthodox world. Until next time, this is Lungs of Faith, and as always,
there we go. Lungs of Faith. I like the video. Give it a like. I have shared it in the chat. Please go check him out. I thought it was an interesting video. I don't see the US ever going Orthodox anytime soon. And this is why Michael's story is so important in the sidebar. Yeah, you're right. Because Michael didn't hate the women. Michael hated himself. Michael hated himself for being stupid and not seeing it for what it was. And then he just blamed the women, so he didn't have to be honest with himself and say, no, I was the one who held myself back. Because that is what he really did. But it's also a little bit of like agency where it's like, no. It's not just the funding. It's not just the psyop, it's not just the conspiracy theory, which it isn't. But it's also a lack of hard boundaries. Guys, you know what the beautiful part is? You don't have to wife these women up. You don't. You don't have to bear the cross of responsibility for them. You don't. You being a religious man does not mean you have to accept everybody. And just know that that acceptance that is being forced down your throat has nothing to do with religion. Absolutely nothing, but powers that be that want to deconstruct your convictions. Speaking of convictions, chat Twister Stroke for the 199. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
Stop gooning.
You can find Nala's stuff on Reddit. Her poor husband. Oh, yeah, it's still up there. It's an easy find, man. And, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Sophie Rain is going to be the next one. Or what's her name? Sophie Rain, right? She's going to be the next one. Like I said, the only one I respect is, what's her name? Now I wonder what her name has been. Belle Delphine. Belle Delphine is the only one where I'm like, you know what? I respect it. I respect the hustle. Where she did her thing, she gained all the money, and she left. She just, rode into the sun. And that was it. Michael's story is also a cope. I have no desire to start a rap group, so why would I care if others do it? Michael wanted to partake, but couldn't. Oh. And turn vice into a virtue. Yeah, but that's true. Then we have Chad Twister Stroke for the generous $4.99. Thank you very much, Chad. I appreciate that, man.
Oh no, it can't be. Is that the consequences of my own actions?
Thank you, Chad. I appreciate that, man. Chad Twister Stroke for the generous $4.99. A lot of evangelical pastors will preach purity, but we're having fun young, or they get married at 19. It's okay for them to get theirs, but not you. Yeah, like I said, I went to an evangelical sermon once, and they were bashing porn. But do you think these guys were teaching the kids mystery method? No. They were just saying, you are sinful for having urges. It's like, dude, you're young, dumb, and full of cum. It's got to go somewhere. How about we tell these kids honestly, like, hey, and these were like 16 to 21 or whatever. 18 to 21. Well, however you want to, you know what I mean. Don't give me that garbage. It's like, oh my God. It's like, look, they were having an info night on porn use. And I'm like, okay, let's hear it. And it's like, yeah, porn is sinful, but Jesus will save you. And I'm like, what help is this? That's not help. Where it's like, hey, you're a man. You're horny. You're an idiot. Stop beating it off and go talk to girls. You know? There's a girl. Let's host a fucking dance night. Let's host a date night. A ball, a prom. Nope. Let's talk to these boys how sinful they are and how bad they are. But you know what? Jesus died for you on the cross so you can watch porn, not feel bad about it. Idiots. A lot of them. No, but the red pill is bad for men. Eat a dick. You know why they hate the red pill? Because they can't control it. That's why they hate it. That's why they need to demonize it. Because they can't buy us. No, Pierce Morgan can't call me today and be like, hey, you want 10 million? But you need to alter your message. I'm like, fuck off. Dumb boomer. Hang up. It's like, we don't do that here. You know? I'd be like, Soga King, shoot down that flag. You know? And I'll declare war on the world government. The Belarusian and I just finished that arc. It's good. Endless Lobby is a good arc. Say whatever you want. It's a good arc. It really is. Yeah, 6 Ed does the same thing. It's essentially abstinence propaganda. It's so stupid. It's like, man, if I had kids, I wouldn't hey, it's time for the talk. I'm not going to like it. It's going to be awkward, but it's normal. Don't feel guilty. But for the love of God, don't be stupid. Dad, what do you mean with stupid? Don't have a fucking kid you can't afford. You know? Don't. Look, honey, guys are going to want you for your tits. You know? You're my daughter. You're probably hot as hell. You're amazing. You're great. You have my intelligence. You have my eyes. You have my looks. But women like, what do I have from mom? I don't know. Probably her long hair or something. I don't know. You know, you've got something from your mom. But boys would want to fuck you. You have power. And with great power comes great responsibility. You are a Spider-Woman. I wouldn't know how to go have that conversation. But honey, be smart. Think of your reputation and think about what you have. And don't date a black guy. I don't know. Is he a good guy? Then I don't care. I really don't. Is he a good guy? Does he have our virtues? Things like that. You know? If he was a Somali, that's a different story. No, not going to happen. You know? Nope. Is he a New Yorker? I don't care. You know? He's probably be able to protect you. Good. I'm walking here. Half of those guys are secretly porn addicts. That's the thing. Because, look, it's also one thing I learned online. Just admit you're a depraved fucking idiot, man. I'm fucking retarded and I'm broke. As soon as somebody comes at me where it's like, Jack Napier's a filthy idiot, I'd be like, oh, you just figured that out? Kind of late to the party, aren't you, pal? You want to try it again? Jack Napier has stupid childish hobbies. So? Jack Napier has a fetish for e-girls with big fucking tits. We know. He's pretty open about it on the timeline, you know. But he pretends he's an alpha male. Nah, he's kind of open about being a beta male and alpha blockers. So, yeah, we know he's an idiot. But he's our idiot kind of thing. A goddamn good-looking one. But it's like, with these guys, like Jeremy of the Quartering, I'm loving watching his downfall. It's like, oh, porn is bad, blah, blah, blah. Dude, you can't be a neckbeard and that out of shape and not watch porn, you know? You're not getting it from your wife every night. And guess what happens? He shares his Twitter. What's the first thing you see? Forced cream pie. It's like, motherfucker. If he would have just been open about, yeah, you know what, I'm kind of out of shape. My wife's grossed out, so every now and then I need to rub one out. People been like, you know, he's a guy, you know, he's a guy. What do you want? Jack constantly goes after me. Yeah, it's because, it's because you have this weird fetish going on, this weird parasocial thing where you want me to go after you. So you know what? I kind of give you what you want every now and then. It happens, thoughts. I agree. It's a mutual thing. We know. There's a joke about Jack Napier and Cappy in there somewhere. There is always a joke about me and Cappy in there somewhere. Always. There's always a joke about Cappy and me in there somewhere. No, but the same as Jack Murphy. You know what cost Jack Murphy his reputation? That he didn't own up to it. Tell us about the Cook article. Oh, how dare you bring that up? Dude, then why did you write the damn thing? Why did you write the damn thing? Because people are going to remember. They are. I probably have said and done things in the past where it's like, maybe that wasn't so smart. Yeah, maybe that wasn't the brightest thing I've ever done. But people are going to bring it up one day. There was one time. No, there was a period of time where there was a certain thing that I didn't like talking about. But now it's like when people bring that up, it's like, yeah, that was a thing. What are you going to do about it? It was nice. It was fun. We'll do it again. But back then, it was like, I don't want to talk about that. I do not want to talk about that nonsense. Nope. But, you have to deal with it. I hope I handled it as well as I did. But, here's my fetish. Just sit here and listen to Jack and just went on a 2-mile walk with my dog. Nice. You have a good dog? Who's a good boy? What kind of dog? I think I already asked you about that, Alex. No, but Jack Murphy's thing, if Jack Murphy had just owned it, sat there with Sydney Watson, where it's like, you know what? I used to be into swinging. That's why I wrote the article. I'm not into it anymore. So I haven't done it. But I wrote down my experience. I don't regret it, but it's not something I'm into anymore. So what would you like me to tell you? Back then, I could tell you about back then. I don't know what it is like now. And it would have been done. Men with no frame and the shit they say. Heartfelt. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this? I'm sorry. Heartfelt. Oh, yeah, I remember. You showed me. Was it? Yeah. I remember. What do you guys say till we wrap this one up? It's not a 3-hour one, or do you want to go? You guys want to go for 3 hours? What are we going to talk about for 3 hours? 25 minutes. I don't know. Okay, you know what? Let me check a couple of things, and then I'll decide if I want to go for the extra half hour or not. I like getting my sleep too. Yes. Who you? I'm listening to them crooked vultures. Yep. Okay. I checked that. I'm not looking at the chat right now. What's the lyrics again to Caligula Love by Dem Crooked Vultures? Gunman, I know. I can't remember the lyrics to Caligula Love. That's a shame. That's a shame. Am I? Somebody tells me I'm in the top 5%. I don't think that I am. Maybe. Maybe I am. I don't know. Then let me check the Substack. What's going on here? Is your middle name Danger? Could be. Let's see. Tower Guy 77 subscribed. Thank you, Tower Guy. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And if you're not on the Substack yet, why not? Hey, Chat Twister Stroke again for a very generous $4.99. Thank you very much, sir. Why are you letting carry? Why are you guys letting Chat Twister Stroke carry over there? Which one do you want?
You gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
There we go. Thank you very much, Chad Twister Stroke, for the generous $4.99. I appreciate you, Chad. Love these big, overweight evangelicals saying, I never cheated on my wife. Yeah, I'll bet that was a hard thing to do. Yeah, exactly. You know, I'll bet you had to swoop the women off of you. Oh, I'll bet you have to kick them off of you, didn't you? You poor thing. You absolute poor thing. And it's always making your necessity a virtue, you know? Always making necessity a virtue. It's stupid. Absolutely stupid. Stripper. Is this about who I think it is about? You're in her DMs. I'm in your house. Nice. Oh, God. Really? Whoa, 1.1 million? Damn. Yeah, of course he's on Substack. #1 new bestseller. God damn. Yeah. Of course. I don't care. I like Tate. You know? I think he's got humor. I think he's got humor. You can import email list. Yeah, but he is a bestseller. You can't import that. The bestseller on Substack, why do you think I focus so much on that? Because that isn't, you earn that, you know? You can't buy it. You can't get it with a hack. You get it by 100 people enjoying your work so much they subscribe to you. That's how you do that. That is how you do that. You know? That's how you do that. But when did he make this? 1 day ago? 2 days ago? 3 days ago? Oh, he's been on Substack for a while. Yeah, he's been on Substack for a while now. March. Oh. No, that's fine. Get his, you know. Get his. Why not? But thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. But I do think we're going to wrap this one up. Yeah, we're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to me. Please hit the like button. If you are watching on Twitter, do me a solid. Go to YouTube. You know, if you're watching on Twitter, on my profile, you can see the link to YouTube. If you don't know where to find it, at Jack Napier News with a K. Go subscribe there. We just passed 4,210 subscribers. I want to get this channel to 5K. Very much appreciate that. come over there, hit the like button, subscribe. For the people already here, why not hit the like button? I want to thank Chad Twister Stroke, Hank Hammer, Retro Gamer, Michael Traptree, The Heroes Forge, Chad of Arabia, with the very, very generous and gifted donations. And the MVP has got to be Chad Twizzler Stroke with the total of $32.98. Chad, thank you so much, man. I don't know where to start. But of course, each and every one of you, Hank, Retro Gamer, Michael, Heroes Forge, and of course, Chad of Arabia, who with the 10 gifted memberships kind of blew out Chad out of the water with the total of like 10 gifted memberships. In super chats, it's Chad of Arabia, and it's Chad Wetzler Stroke. In memberships, it's Chad of Arabia. My MVPs of the night, of the day, actually. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate each and every donation, which I absolutely do. And if you want to support the channel for less than a super chat per month, you can do so on the Substack for less than a super chat per month. Over 100 essays, 3 free audiobooks, private community, monthly Q&A, and the upcoming audiobook of On Women will be posted on the Substack. I will post it there. After that, I will probably upload it to Apple Books, and maybe I can find a way to get it on Audible. Maybe. But I'm not sure yet. Need to find a way to do that. There's probably a way I can pull it off. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. But if you want On Women on paperback or on Kindle today, you can do so via Amazon with the link in the chat. Link to the Substack, link to the book, both in the chat, the description, and the comment section. I want to thank all you generous donators again for tonight. I want to thank all my guys in the chat as well. Thanks for being here with me. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, we will be going over the sidebar. So looking forward to that. Some old school praxeological theory. Hope to see you guys then. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers, boys. See you soon.